hope this doesn't buffer. All right. I'm really sorry. The last live stream, I didn't even know it had ended. I was still talking to myself, and then I saw that the chat has frozen, and then I saw that I wasn't even here. Anyways, I've said a lot of things. This is going to be a very interesting live stream, and I'm very resilient tonight. I'm like, nothing on God's green earth is going to stop me. I don't care if I have to start this live like 16 times this night. I do not care at this point. Like, I literally do not care. I have my water ready, and I'm just going to keep going. It doesn't matter how many times I have to restart it. Like, I really do not care. Whatever is working to make me not do this. If there are some, I saw somebody in the last live chat saying Allah is fighting the stream, and I'm like, Allah has no idea what he's up against. If Allah's plan is to make sure I do not do this live stream, then he should rethink it, because nothing, I mean, absolutely nothing is going to stop me from discussing everything I want to discuss. Even if all the people that I have watching me is one person. As long as one person is watching, I'm going to continue doing the stream. And if that one person is just me, I'm going to keep doing it, because I have made up my mind that I'm going to do this. I've made up my mind what I'm going to cover, and I'm going to cover it. I know I'm talking too much, but I'm going to get through all of it. And if it's going to be a 5-hour live stream, because at this point is what's the time? This is almost 12 o'clock. So it's like I'm just starting. I don't care. Like, I literally do not care. Right? Like, I literally do not care. I want to do this, and I want to do it well, and I'm going to do it, and I'm going to talk about everything that I want to talk about. Okay, guys? So don't worry. I am here. If you are here, I am here, and we are going to make this happen. I do not care. Like, I really, really do not care. Okay, so just real quick before I've been called the man of steel, but real quick before the man of steel, before the man of steel proceeds, let me just do a little, let me just, like, tweak things a little bit, and then I get back to you guys, and we'll continue our live stream, because nothing is going to stop us. Alhamdulillah. Nothing is going to stop us. Okay. So let me just do a little stuff, and then I'll get back to you guys. I just want to, change the thumbnail of this new stream and change the description. That's just all I want to do. Change thumbnail, change description, and then like categorize it because it is commentary. Save that. So I just want to do a little, because as you can see, I didn't really set any of this thing up. I just went straight to the stream. So there you have it. And I'm also going to delete the previous streams. Instead, I will rather, like, I recorded both of them, so I'm going to kind of merge both of their recording and then post them later. So those who saw those live, congratulations, you caught us live. But every other person is going to see the recorded version. I'm going to delete those and then re-upload them as just videos, because I have them recorded. I'm also recording. I don't know what is happening with I really do not know what is happening with my Streamlabs. It's so unusual, but it's all good. It's all good at the end of the day, right? It is all good. So let me just put some of the settings in order, and then we will be good to go. Just bear with me a little while I click some things. I hope you guys have not given up on me, because I'm not giving up on anybody tonight. I'm giving up on myself and on this live stream that I intend to do. I am not giving up on it. So I hope you guys are not giving up on me either. We are going to have a very fantastic time, and we are going to have all the conversations that we want to have. Okay? We're going to have all of them. What is happening right now? Looks like, I hope I'm not buffering. Somebody say, "Oh Lord, it's buffering again." Let me guys, tell me, guys, is it buffering? Because I'm using StreamYard and it doesn't usually buffer. If it is buffering, let me know. Just let me know. But I doubt that it will be. But just let me know. If it is buffering, let me know. But I doubt that it will be. But if it is, let me know. If it is, let me know. I'm trying to save the tags, but the tags are not saving. So I will leave that for now and just focus on the stream. And let me see what you guys are complaining about. The people who are saying, "Oh, it is buffering." I want to see what you guys are complaining about. If it is really buffering. It is not. It's showing excellent over here. Everything is all fine and dandy. So there is no buffering. Who is that person saying it is buffering? It is not. Okay? It is not. I can see it right here and it is not. All right, we are back and we are going to make this work. I am really sorry. I need to. Oh, John is here already. Thank you, John. I thought John would not be able to follow, but thank you. Now I can highlight. Your chat because I'm back to using StreamYard, StreamYard rather, not Streamlab. I'm back to using Streamlab. What am I saying? Let me see if I can set my goals. I set goals earlier. Let me set goals for you know what, 10 super chats. Okay, let's do 10 super chats. Put a timer for 2 hours. So let's see if we'll get 10 super chats. And if we get 10 super chats in this live stream, I am going to do another live stream. I am going to do another live stream this week. So if we get up to that, I'm going to do another live stream this week, and I've set that as a goal. So guys, if you want to see me live again this week, let us hit the goal, okay? 10 super chats, okay? Let's do. We can do this. We can do this. So we can do this. Come on, guys. Let's see. Anyways, moving on. I think I've dwelled too long on the Megan Kelly mountain and I want to move on, right? Anyway, but before I do, let me just highlight the last thing she said in response to all the drama. There are some things that I think I was saying to myself and you guys did not catch. I'm sorry about that. I'll post it later. All the things I said, it was all recorded. So you guys are going to see that, right? Let me remove this. All right. So let me see. There's something I want to try. Let's see if I can edit it. I want to try and edit something. Okay. Oh, I like this. This is nice. Save as layer 7, whatever. No. Edit layer 7. This is not what I wanted. I want something like this. Yeah, save. No, save as layer 7. Doesn't even save where I want it to save. Just look at that. I was busy saving something that wasn't saving. Sorry, guys. I just wanted to try something new. Which one do you guys prefer? This or this? I kind of prefer this one. Anyways. What else do I need to add here? I need to add my... Let's see if I have it. Do I have it? I don't have it. Sorry, I just want to add a couple of other things. I hope you guys are not offended with all my moving things around. I hope you guys are okay with it. Please be okay with it. There is this option. I've seen it on stream where your chats can be showing. Right? Come on. It's somewhere. Let's see. Okay. Yeah, that is it. Exactly. That's what I was trying to talk on. All right. So now we can see your chats on the screen. All right. I just want to put all of that and then finish with what I'm talking about with regards to Megan Kelly. Okay. So I don't know if you guys know where we left. I don't know where the last live stream ended off, but to just wrap it up, she kind of responded to Insurrection Barbie by saying, that's Megan Kelly responded to Insurrection Barbie by saying, cool, we'll double check that we'll double check that to be sure since you already admitted it publicly on X, because it would be really foolish to admit you are a felonious convicted fraudster who was this bad if it isn't true. I mean, really, really dumb. Now you can go back to obscurity at least until I have you checked out, which is kind of ridiculous, especially when you know that she's being sarcastic and you're just being. I just don't know how to describe this response by Megan Kelly. It's just being dishonest, being disingenuous in her interpretation of what is obvious, making it look like Insurrection Barbie admitted to something when it was clear that she was being sarcastic, and say, oh, what she did was really, really dumb. Like, this is where, somebody is just being pathetic and looking for, desperate for something to use to own someone else. And she's going to, like, pretend to be stupid in an attempt to own someone else. And that's kind of what Megan Kelly's career looks like currently. That's kind of the summary of her career. Even Seth Dillon was like, the mom of the internet strikes again. People are at least until I have you checked out. And here is Megan Kelly checking doing her investigation. So yeah, that is from Megan Kelly. Now let's move on to every other person who was like losing their mind over Randy Fine's tweet. You have Owen Jones, of course. Prove that you can say anything about Muslims in the Western world with no consequence unless this hatred is driven back. A catastrophe awaits. Oh, please shut up. No catastrophe awaits anybody. If you know anything about Islam and you know what Islam says about you, you will not be talking like this. People who talk like this have no idea what Islam actually says about them. Okay? Islam, the God of the religion, has more regard for dogs than they have for non-Muslims. Okay? They have more regard. That's the truth. They have more regard for dogs than they do for non-Muslims. At least a polytheist, at least a dog can be kept for commercial or farming reasons, like for the reason of using it as a farm animal, for using it as a hunting animal, something like that. You can keep a dog for that purpose, except it is the black dog, then that is obviously the devil, and you cannot use that for anything in Islam, right? You can keep, but if you're a polytheist under Islamic rule, you have two options. Either you convert to Islam or you are killed. You don't even deserve to live. Okay, and according to Surah 98, let me be sure that it is Surah 98 so I don't post on a wrong Quran verse. I think it's Surah 98 verse 6. Surah 98 verse 6. According to Surah 98 verse 6, this is what it has to say about this is what it has to say about non-Muslims. Indeed, they who disbelieve among people of the scriptures and the polytheists will be in the fire of hell. I mean, that's fine. They will be in the fire of hell, abiding in eternal daring. Those are the worst of creatures. Imagine that. Someone is saying, oh, look at how people are speaking about Muslims in the West. Look at how Muslims are being spoken of. Look at how they speak about Muslims in the West. This is bad. This is abhorrent. This is preposterous. If we allow this to continue, something catastrophic awaits. Meanwhile, the religion you are defending and people in the religion you are defending are religiously obligated to view you as worse than a dog. They are religiously obligated to see you as worse than a dog. Like everything Randy Fine said in this tweet, this one rather, all that he said here compared to what we just read, which is the worst? I would argue that being seen as the worst of creatures It's the worst, especially when you consider that this worst of creatures are being treated really as worst of creatures, because the Muslim has been given the obligation to go out and wipe us out or subjugate us violently and treat us as dhimmis. Prove that you can say anything about Muslims in the Western world with no consequences, unless this hatred is driven back, a catastrophe awaits. Oh, please keep quiet. You know nothing. You know absolutely nothing. And here are other people who are pointing out that Megyn Kelly seemed to be simping for Islam. Now, I don't think she's simping for Islam. She's just, I don't know, she just doesn't have a standard. And at this point, it looks like she doesn't even stand for anything. I don't even know, like, how do you describe Megyn Kelly at this point? You know, people who watch her and who listen to her takes, like, what do you get out of her is what needs to be asked at this point. Like, what exactly do you get out of her? Of course, and then you have Piers Morgan. Of course, if you are looking for dumb people online, if you've ever felt bad about yourself as an individual, you feel how if you've ever felt like nothing is going on for you, you're a very ridiculous person. Remember that there's someone out there that goes by the name of Piers Morgan. I mean, Piers Morgan looks dumb. Like, you know when they say somebody is as dumb as they look, right? That's Piers Morgan is dumber than he looks. Like, you look at that face and you're like, yeah, that is the face of a very dumb person. And then you're like, you hear him speak and you're like, I thought you were dumb, but I didn't know you were this dumb. I mean, you looked dumb, but now you look wise compared to what is coming out of your mouth. It's really, it's a huge feat. And Piers Morgan is really like doing it on a daily basis. Here are more people calling out Megyn Kelly for her obvious hypocrisy. And then you have this tweet from this person saying, how can you even hate a group of people for taking a month to better themselves and reflect on themselves? It's sad to see, really. May Allah strengthen every believer's heart during this month, this holy month of fasting. And this is said in response to David Wood posting this, saying, Ramadan starts in a few days. Okay, so this is how it starts, I believe. Yes, this is how it starts. David Wood posted, that is on Monday, he posted, Ramadan starts in a few days. Non-Muslims need to buy your groceries now, because Muslims are going to clear the shelf at your local supermarket so they can gorge themselves multiple times per day for an entire month while claiming they are fasting. And then there is this picture of of a Muslim woman with her child, and then having this cart full with stuff from the grocery, and she's saying, the child saying, Mom, I thought Ramadan was a fasting month. And then you can see the effect of the fasting. That is, and look, it's funny, but it's true. Like, it's funny because it is true. It's not even like it's funny, but it's true. It's funny because it is true. Like, there is high obesity in the Muslim world, and it is due to Ramadan. Like people die or people are rushed in the hospitals in the Muslim world. They get hospital emergency because of how much people have eaten during Ramadan. Like, Ramadan is really a period where Muslims eat. Like, we are going to look at it. Many of them, I have them bookmarked, right? And we are going to look at some of them. But every promotion, every video that I've seen posted by Muslims to promote Ramadan has the image of food. Think about it. Just think about it. Ramadan is a month of fasting, right? Ramadan is a month of fasting. Yet every picture that talks about Ramadan has food on it. And this is not the infidels, the kafirs, like the kuffars, the Islamophobes making these pictures and these videos. These are Muslims themselves making it to talk about Ramadan, to say, Ramadan Mubarak, right? Yet every picture and every video of it, let me just show you this. It will blow your mind. Let's go to Pixel. Let's go to pixel.com, right? Pixel.com. So this is where you kind of like get stock footages and stock videos, right? Let's search Ramadan. Just let's search Ramadan, right? And let's see the image that will come out. Okay, you have this, you have rug, you have prayer. What do you see here? Food. Look, food. And this is supposed to be about fasting, right? I don't know if you get this is food, is what is. Oh, this is so interesting. Okay, and then you have these ones, of course, you know, it's just Muslims reading the Quran and stuff, praying. And look at here, food again. You have food here, right? Now these are photos. Now let's look at videos. Let's see Ramadan videos, right? Okay, you have someone reading the Quran. You have, I don't even know what any of this have to do with Ramadan. And again, food. You have Ramadan Kareem, food. I mean, these ones are videos that obviously have to do with Ramadan. And what do you see? A dinner table, food. Let's check Twitter, right? Let's check Twitter. Let's just search Ramadan. Let's search Ramadan and see what we'll find on Twitter. Okay, oh, this is crazy. He said the feast of Ramadan begins today. The feast of Ramadan begins today when Muslims gorge themselves with food multiple times per day and call it fasting. Food sales are highest during Ramadan, and Muslims gain weight while supposedly fasting. Strange religion. Ramadan 2026, Ramadan Kareem. And then there is this guy, Ramadan Day 1, Ramadan Day 4. This is crazy. Exactly. This is another video about Ramadan, right? This is another video about Ramadan. And what are they showing?
جماعة خلينا نشوف يوم فطورنا شنو يوم أول يوم رمضان. أول شيء نبلش بمسوس اللحم. هذا التشريبة مالتنا.
Imagine that.
سلام. هذا شنو؟
Everything about food. They're talking about food. They're talking about food.
وهذا البشاميل.
This is Ramadan. This is Ramadan. This is Ramadan.
هذا فطور أول يوم رمضان.
This is
جماعة خلينا نشوف يوم فطورنا شنو يوم أول يوم رمضان. أول شيء نبلش مسوس اللحم.
This is Ramadan.
هذا التشريبة مالتنا. يا سلام.
This is 100% Ramadan.
هذا الريش.
Food upon food.
هذا البشاميل.
People are going to gorge themselves. This is a feast. This is a feast. This is a banquet. This is a freaking banquet. Like this is a freaking banquet, guys. This is a freaking banquet. This is not about fasting. This is not about abstinence. Okay, this is a freaking banquet. These people are really gorging themselves with food. But I really want to see the ones where people are trying to promote the Ramadan. Like the one, again, I don't know if this is AI generated, but this is usually what you see as pictures of Ramadan. Is people eating. This is what, when people want to promote Ramadan, they put picture of people eating. And the food is really, really going hard. I mean, this is a Ramadan fasting is feasting that identifies as fasting. Now, repeat after me. Trans fasting is fasting. This is from 2025, by the way, so this is old. Trans fasting is fasting. Trans fasting is fasting. Trans fasting is fasting. I'm telling you, it's feasting that identifies as fasting. But let's move from the haters and look for an image of. Okay, this is the IDF celebrating Ramadan. Okay, you say it's the IDF. You know, obviously they are trying to paint. Let's not use the IDF as a good example. I want to see one that is Muslims themselves. You know, promoting this. I wish I could find some example. So, okay, here is one. This is from a Muslim saying Ramadan Mubarak. And what do you have? The dinner table. The dinner table is the symbol of Ramadan. They should ditch the lantern, okay? Ditch the lantern, ditch the crescent moon during Ramadan as symbols of Ramadan, and just have the silhouette of a dinner table. That should be That should be the new symbol. The real symbol of Ramadan is just, it should be a silhouette of not a silhouette of the crescent moon or the lantern or whatever that is. Just, it should be a silhouette of the dinner table, and like a silhouette of a banquet on the dinner table. That is what it should be. Because, I mean, I wish Twitter would show me some, but you know what? We are going to get through to all of them. So this is what, so David Wood really posted this about Ramadan. And then you have Master Ugwe saying, how can you even hate on a group of people for taking a month to better themselves and reflect on themselves? It's sad to see, really. May Allah strengthen every believer's heart during this month of fasting. And David responded, gorging yourself with food multiple times per day and calling it fasting isn't bettering yourself. It is lying to yourself. And it is really like the effect of this on Muslims is really, as in, it's bad. It's really, really bad. It's really horrible about, especially what it does to their health. Not the abstinence from food. That is not what really like affects them. It's the gorging of food, like eating to stupor, essentially. So that's why they was, had this. And moving on, well, of course, you have Jake Tapper joining the bandwagon to pile on Congressman Randy Fine. Oh, you are a disgusting bigot. It's bigotry, blah, 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 blah. And then you have even Nick Fuentes is, joined the dog pile, and it's like, Randy Fine is a disgusting... Let's listen to this.
Somebody needs to stand up and say Randy Fine is disgusting.
What is that your name again? Nick. You shouldn't be calling somebody disgusting, because that is who you are. You are the embodiment of disgust. Like, you are disgusting made flesh. I don't know if you understand. You are disgusting personified. You are a reprehensible human being. Okay? You are a Nazi that even Hitler would not like. That is how reprehensible you are.
Morally reprehensible. Damn him. Randy Fine says it's funny that children are starving in Gaza. He's smug about it. He thinks he...
You know what I like about someone like Nick Fuentes? Is the sudden, oh yeah, Nick Fuentes cares about the children in Gaza. Yeah, Nick Fuentes cares, like gives 2 cents or 2 dimes about the children in Gaza. Nick Fuentes. Nick Fuentes doesn't care about the children in Gaza. The only reason why it is important to him is because it is an opportunity to own the Jews. He doesn't care. Children in Gaza, they should be there. There's somebody who wants to round up Jews and kill them. Does it really look like, has he ever come across as somebody who even cares about human life other than the one that is white?
He's in any position to judge anybody.
Neither are you. Nick Fuentes, if Randy Fine is not in a situation or in a position to judge anybody, then neither are you. You are not in any position. You have a platform because we have an abundance of stupid people. That is the only reason why you have a platform. Like, I need some of these people to really understand this. You are not making content for brilliant people. You are making content for painfully stupid and morally reprehensible people. That is why you have a platform. I don't know if sometimes these people kind of forget. Like, oh, my whole brand, my entire shtick, the reason why I exist on the internet is because I'm morally reprehensible. I am disgusting. That is kind of my brand. So I shouldn't be calling others what I am proudly. You know? I don't know if I want to continue listening to this. Let's keep moving. So, yeah, this is another clip that I think is very interesting. Let's watch this.
There's no way any man on this earth would be able to stand and burn a Quran in my face. There's just no way that would happen. Like, I would definitely choose violence.
But you accept then that, Adam, you would accept then that you would have broken the law and be convicted for it?
Oh, 1,000,000%. Yeah. I'd accept that.
So why, and that's because the Quran matters so much to you that you would be willing to potentially go to prison for a violent act if someone was burning it in front of you?
To be honest with you, I've been to prison for less than that. So yeah, that's very important. Yeah.
I think your response is the problem. I think if you say any mocking of your religion is going to result in violent attacks on that person, that has such a chilling effect on free speech in this country, the ability, the right to mock.
There is no free speech. What's this free speech joke you keep talking about? Right. There's no free speech. There's no... Islam is being bullied. That's what's happening. Islam is being bullied. It's been happening for long. And now people just think they can just do anything and anywhere. And no, yeah, religion.
Well, but if the anything anywhere was to say in a religious studies lesson, draw an image of the Prophet Muhammad, not in a mocking way, but literally just draw, what he may or may not look like, should that be allowed?
No, it should not, because
Why not?
It's not allowed for us to do.
Well, but you're not me, and I'm not you.
If someone's doing that in a non-mocking way, maybe we could teach them and tell them why we don't do it, and we find.
But you might do that, and they are within their rights. That school might be within their rights to say that's absolutely understandable. That's your religious faith. Those are your religious traditions and cultures. We don't abide by that. This is a secular school. This is what we're doing.
Then I wouldn't have nothing to do with that school.
And these are people that the UK cannot wait to have more of. Of course, these are people who are contributing greatly to the society. These are people who the UK cannot do without. These are people who build the world, essentially, because every Western country keeps telling us, oh, these people are contributing greatly to the society. Our society will not be where it is if not for these people. We keep hearing that. That has become common to a common recitation at this point. It's like a mantra. We will not be where we are today if not for people like this. And sorry, the interviewer is kind of funny. It's like, your response is the problem. And I'm like, maybe you should ask yourself, what is his response based on? Instead of seeing this as just, one crazy guy who called on my show and has this crazy view. I am sure many Muslims don't share the same view. Why not ask yourself, what is this based on? Why is he saying this? And he's not alone. There are many Muslims like him. Some of them go on the streets and say, you know what, you cannot burn the Quran, you cannot draw pictures of Muhammad, you can't do anything like this. We are going to resort to violence. This is contrary to Western value. That alone is enough to make people in the West take a pause and be like, what exactly are we inviting into our society? But this interviewer is just like, oh, well, it is your view, it is your opinion, and your statement like yours are problematic. Not recognizing that there is something that is behind that statement. There is a reason to it. And it's not just, that's how some Muslims are. It's like a cultural thing. No, it is religious. It is inherent in the religion. But of course, the moment that a British person recognizes that, then he's racist, then he's Islamophobic, then he's full of hate, he's a hateful person, And here is from Dan. You know what? From Dan. All those attacking representative fine and trying to appear kind and more civilized are posting the same line. Imagine if Randy said this about a different group. If a different group were trying to ban dogs, I would easily imagine him saying the same thing. And nothing would happen because other groups don't have a weapon called Islamophobia. Of course. Of course, that is a very good take. And then, you have Hamza Youssef, former what now of what part of Europe was that? Anyways, this is what he has to say. He said, after every genocide, we ask the same. Muslims, these people have mastered the craft of always playing the victim. Even that guy that we had from LBC. Muslims are being bullied. Muslims are being bullied. That's what is going on. Muslims are being bullied. That's what is going on. Like, dude, You are the one who is trying to kill somebody because, or try to get violent because somebody burnt your book or said something offensive about your prophet, and you describe that as bullying. Words being said about your religion, negative words, negative comments about your prophet, and burning your book and drawing a cartoon of your prophet. That is what you define as bullying, which you are going to respond to by taking somebody's life, inflicting physical bodily harm on that person. And they are the bullies. And Islam is being bullied. I don't blame you. I blame the people who brought you into the West. They are the ones that are at fault. It's not your fault. It's obviously not your fault. Like I always say, nobody in their right mind will hear that a snake beats somebody or somebody has been beaten by a snake and blame the snake. What you are going to ask is, didn't you know that a snake was there? Why did you decide to, disturb the snake? So when an Islamist, or let's not even call them Islamists, when a pious Muslim decide to act as a pious Muslim, I don't think I should blame the Muslim for being pious. I just think everyone else who thought this pious Muslim is not going to do what he's supposed to do is the person that needs to be blamed. So, but yeah, you have Yusuf telling us about after every genocide, we ask the same question. After every genocide, we ask the same question. How can people inflict such cruelty on their fellow human beings? The root cause is always the same, because society allows the dehumanization of an entire group. Randy Fine is a prime example of how that happens. Awful. Another prime example, Yusuf, is Quran 98 verse 6. Indeed, they who disbelieve among the people of the scripture and the polytheists will be in the fire of hell, abiding eternally therein. Those are the worst of creatures. This is genocidal statement found in the Quran. If what Randy Fine is saying is the reason is what leads to a genocide, is how genocides occur. This kind of rhetoric that leads to a genocide. This explains why human beings will wake up one morning and decide to kill other human beings. If that is the case, because somebody said, I prefer dogs to those who want to kill dogs and who want to ban dogs. If I'm to choose between people who want to ban dogs and dogs, I would choose the dog. If that is genocidal, then what do you say about somebody who said, simply because you don't believe in my God, or simply because these people don't believe in me as God, they are the worst of creatures? What do you have to say about that, Yusuf? Let's listen to what Constantine Kisin have to say about being called far right. By the way, I want to thank you, Song of Relief, for the $5 super chat. Say God bless you and your wife, Frank. Thank you 100%. I appreciate that. Also, guys, we have a super chat goal that will soon expire. Right? We have a super chat goal that will soon expire. We have less than 1 hour 30 minutes, and it will be over. So we are expecting 20 super chats. Not 20, sorry, 10. Okay, we've just gotten 1, and we are waiting for the remaining 9. Come on, guys, I believe we can get 10. Give me 10 and I will be blessed. Give me 10 and I will feel blessed. Anyways, moving on, let's listen to what Constantine Kisin have to say about being called far right.
What does it imply about the country that the Labour Party is trying to say that Matt Goodwin is far right? What are these people talking about? Right? But if you keep talking in that language, people will then, the reason they talk in this language is so they feel that they can attack people and not their argument. After my question time appearance, some fucking publication I've never heard of wrote a thing about, what did the far right podcaster really say about Rishi Sunak? Like, I'm far right now. I'm far right. I'm in the 90s.
It's kind of unfortunate the use of the phrase far right, because, it's becoming, it doesn't have that effect anymore. And sometimes I wonder if the people who use that terminology, who use that term to frame their enemies, if the goal of those people is even perhaps their goal is to make that word of no effect, so that when the actual far right show up, people will not be able to recognize it. and then they are going to kind of sway society, and then it's going to lead to like a major like political push that is kind of that is kind of normal in when the far right is in charge. And then when something catastrophic happens as a result, they'll be like, well, we talked about the far right. Sometimes I wonder that is kind of what they are aiming for. If the goal is to keep calling people far right, so much so that when an actual far right ideology appears on the scene, people will be so desensitized that they will be swayed by it, and then it's going to lead them to something like catastrophic, like what we saw in Germany. And then when that happened, then the people who were calling other people far right to be like, well, we said so. We said this was going to lead to this, and it happened. You see, kind of like this self-fulfilling prophecies. Like the more they do it, somehow they are calling that thing forth. And I hope that, as much as we are beginning to recognize that they are using the terminology far right, they are misusing it, and in a way that is the word is beginning to lose its meaning. That even though those people are doing that, we should not allow that word to lose its meaning, because there are people who are far right, and far right ideology is dangerous. You understand where I'm coming from? Like, there are actual people who are far right, and far right ideology is actually dangerous. So I hope that even as people are misusing the terminology, they are using it to label those who they cannot respond to their arguments. They are using it to shut down conversation. As much as that is happening, I hope that we will not get to a point in society where we cannot recognize the far right when they rise up. I really hope that will not be the case, because there is Nick Fuentes. And there are people like Nick Fuentes who are tilting towards the far right. And those people need to be, we need to recognize that those people exist. As much as people on the left is blurring the line and making it look like every one of us, we are all the same. Let us not fall for that. There are actual far rights, far right individuals, far right ideology, far right ideas. They exist. So,
1990s and 2000s, I consistently voted for the Liberal Democrats. And I have changed literally none of my opinions since then, other than on tax. Running trigonometry, a small business, has taught me a lot about the way money works and economics works. And so I'm probably slightly less redistributionist now at a corporate level. At a personal level, like I said, I'm happy to pay a high level of tax. But at a corporate level, we need very, very low corporate tax rates if we're going to encourage business and growth in the country. So that's the only opinion I've changed since I used to vote Lib Dem. Now I'm far right. That's what happened. Because in 2000, nobody was saying mass illegal immigration is good. Barack Obama and Bernie Sanders and all the left-wing politicians from the 2000s, if you go and read their statements now, they sound far, far to the right of Tommy fucking Robinson. That's the level of...
And one of the things that they kind of do is when you talk about illegal immigration, this kind of just indiscriminately allowing people into your country, no background checks, nothing. Even when some of these migrants go ahead to commit heinous crimes, they're still allowed to stay in the country. They're not being deported, nothing like that. When you go out to point this out, instead of people recognizing the points you're trying to make, or the people on the other side recognizing the points you're trying to make, what they do is deliberately misrepresent and misunderstand you and portray it as if you are against all forms of migration. Like you just do not want any form of migration into any Western country. Like you are anti-immigration whatsoever. When that is not really the case. All you are saying is, let us not allow people just anyhow, just come in, whoever you are. And then it's like, if you want any restriction, just any, even if it is the smallest restriction, if you want the smallest, the slightest, just just a very small iota of restriction on immigration, just a very small one. Let's say, oh, you just want people to have visas. Let's say when you are coming into the country, have a visa at least, or like go through the right channel. Don't just smuggle your way in. Like, even if you're a refugee, go through the port of entry. Don't go through the fence. Just something like that. And like if you're in the country and you commit a crime, maybe you should be deported. Something like that. Maybe deport immigrants who commit crimes. Like, deport them. Let's say you have something like that. Just say one of those things, and the next thing you're going to hear is, this person does not like immigrants. You hate immigrants. Who is going to mow your lawns? Who is going to sell tacos to you? Who's going to do this job? Who's going to drive the taxis? Who's going to? And you're like, okay, first of all, to make it look like all immigrants are good for is this kind of work is kind of racist, if you ask me. But okay, that aside, but come on, I'm not saying every immigrant should leave. I'm just saying that one should not be allowed to stay. Just that one. Okay, how about just that one? No, it's all or nothing with these people. It is all or nothing. There's like, we don't even want one iota of restriction. Nobody is illegal, okay? Nobody is illegal on stolen land, right? Very ridiculous.
Shift that has happened on this issue. I've always believed the same thing about immigration, right? Legal immigration is fine and in fact desirable if the level and quality and type of people is what the country needs at that time, right? That's a statement, that's a truism, a statement of the bleeding obvious. If bringing more people in of a certain caliber now benefits your country, that is a good thing, right? And illegal immigration should be zero. That is where I was then. That is where I am now. The only thing that has happened is the entirety of society suddenly went full retard and said that illegal immigration is human rights. It's about their human rights, right? They're refugees, which is why they've traveled through about 57 fucking countries before paying several £1,000s to a boat smuggler in Calais. Is that what refugees do?
Apparently.
Is that what the Ukrainians did? Is that what Hong Kongers did?
Maybe.
Is that what Jews fleeing the Holocaust did? Did they just turn up to a country and the country was like, yeah, come in? And they're like, no, mate, we're going to keep going. Yeah. We're fleeing. No, mate, I know we're fleeing the conflict, but we don't like France. We're going to go to England, thanks. Is that what they did?
That's exactly how refugees behave, guys.
I don't think so.
That is exactly how they behave.
So it wasn't me that changed my opinion. It's the entire society went fucking mental.
Well, it's not the entire society. It's just the other people. The people who are accusing you, they're the ones that went real. They really went full retard. Like, they went fully retarded. It's kind of unfortunate to see, unfortunate to watch. But yeah, that is kind of what happened. Like,
In 20 years. In 20 years, you went from Barack Obama and Bill Clinton talking about the need for a secure border and how we're going to send everybody back and actually sending people back.
Yeah.
Barack Obama, the darling of the left, was called the deporter-in-chief.
Yes.
Right?
Yes.
And then everyone suddenly decided that we just like this thing that we all believed for about, 3,000 years. Suddenly, no, that's racist. And what we do now is we just go, oh, yeah, come in. Here's a hotel. Here's some spending money. Have at it. Pretend you're fucking 12 or 16 when you're actually 24. And we'll just go, oh, yeah, you're 16. So why have you got a beard, mate? Oh, it's just early on. So, okay, fair enough. Come on in, mate. Come on, you.
That's proof that he's a refugee, because he's 16 but he looks 24. That's how you know he's a refugee, because come on, he was really struggling in the country he was fleeing from. That's why he's 16 but he has this full Muhammad beard and there's some like white Of course he's 16. He might even look 35 but he's freaking 16. Okay, who are you to question his age? He's 16.
So you probably got anxiety as well. Here's 100.
He has anxiety. Yes, that's exactly my point. He has anxiety. That's why he has a full beard. Look at me. I'm almost like in my 30s and I still don't have a few. Like, my mind is barely connected, right? And I'm almost 30. But this person has the full beard and everything, and is like, yeah, I'm 16. And you have to believe me. And you're like, yeah, we are going to believe him. He's definitely 16. And he's definitely fleeing oppression. That's why he has gone from Spain to France to... Come on.
Right? Someone decided at some point that that's what we do now. And when I said I don't agree with it, they went, oh, you're far right. Like, what are you talking about? So what's happening at Sussex University and what's happening across the entire country is all these people went fucking mental. And they think that those of us who don't agree with them are evil, and therefore we get to be shouted down and smeared and misrepresented and lied about and whatever. And I don't know about you, I've had enough of it. I'm done with these people.
Yep.
I am done giving a shit what any of them think.
Yep. And
I'm completely done.
Good for you, my brother. Like, finally. Finally. Maybe that's the attitude that, you know, people need to adopt. Like, don't really take these people seriously. You know, there's something that I always say, like, if people keep saying certain things to you, it's because you pay attention. The moment you start ignoring them and not even giving them that attention, they stop talking. You know, like people in the West always talk about racism. You have black people crying about racism. You know, African countries, like almost every African country has an issue with tribalism. Like, it is a very big issue in Africa. But if you come to Africa, you will not know that we have a very big issue of tribalism. Do you know why? Because we don't see it as an issue. Like, you will look like a very ridiculous person if you come out and say, you know what, all this tribalistic rhetoric that Africans are notorious for, or that has become commonplace, mainstream even in Africa. Now, this is bad. This is unbecoming. People should not speak like that to one another. It's dehumanizing. You know, do better. Don't be tribalistic. You know, people are not even going to pay attention to you. They'll be like, oh, please get out of here. But then these same people who know how to, you know, look down on people from other tribes, even though they have the same skin color, just because they speak a different language or they have a different ancestry, they know how to look down on them. They know how to discriminate against them. They know how to be prejudicial against them. They can even say, don't marry my daughter because you are this color, or not this color, or because you are from this tribe, or because you are from this ethnicity, whatever. They can do all of that and they are fine with it. They come from a society where it is perfectly normal. And you're going to see somebody like that move to the UK, stay for like 6 months, and then is crying about racism and be like, oh, the UK is so racist. It is so racist. And what is the racist thing that you're talking about? Oh, do you notice how that white woman was looking at me? And I'm like, come back to Africa and see just how your grandmother look at someone, and how you too look at someone else from a different tribe. And you don't see it as an issue, but you move to the United States and or to the UK or any of these European countries, and you realize suddenly that if you scream racism, racist, they're going to pay attention to you, and then you started screaming it. So they taught you that it is a problem to speak ill or to be prejudicial of people of another kind. They told you that it is a problem. You learned that it is a problem from the West. And since you learned it, it's like as a child who just learned a new word, who just learned to say dada, you can't stop talking about it. And somehow they keep reinforcing it, because the more you talk about it, the more they pay attention to you, the more they sympathize with you, the more you are able to exploit them, you trip them. Like, it is advantageous of you as a black person from Africa, of African descent, to continue saying that, and you see yourself in a society where you can just emotionally manipulate and blackmail these people to do whatever you want. All you have to do is scream racist. Tell me why a black person in the UK will not scream racist. Tell me why a Muslim will not scream Islamophobia. Just tell me why they will not. You have in the Middle East, right? You have Sunnis persecuting Shias, right? Nobody has talked about, you know, oh, look at this needs to stop. Have you seen anybody in the Muslim world come out and say, oh, this is a problem? But both Muslim and both Sunni and Shia will come to the West, and all of a sudden there is something they discovered. You taught them, they discovered that there is an audience for this kind of nonsense. You know, so it's the West. That's why when all of this is Western, it's a Western problem. You know, and then you have this from Ricky Gervais. He's saying, if you don't like dogs, then you can F off. Very interesting. And still on the dog issue, here is Nico's take on dogs. This is kind of old, but...
Fuck your dog. Fuck your dog. Keep your dog home. I don't care. It's not cute. I don't want to pet it. I don't want to touch your dog. Dogs are haram for a reason, and this was a sign from Allah.
Sneeko is an unfortunate situation. Like, Sneeko is really an unfortunate situation. I don't know how else to put it. Like, this guy is really, really the definition of an unfortunate situation. Like, when you see Sneeko talk and do all the LARPing for Islam, it's an unfortunate situation. I am very sure you can go to the past and see videos of Sneeko saying he likes dogs. And then he became a Muslim and is like, oh, now we hate dogs now. We hate dogs now. They're haram for a reason. It's a sign from Allah.
There's shit all over my fucking rug. Dogs are gross. Have a child. God wants us to have kids, not.
Okay, so what if you have kids and those kids want to have a dog? So what do you do then? It's like, oh, any person who wants to have a dog doesn't want to have kids. It's like yeah, it's one of those things that Muslims online know how to do very well. They just kind of like, it's the fallacy of the excluded middle, right? It's just either you have dogs or you have kids. Okay, there is no I have dogs and I have kids for these people. It's either you have dogs or you have kids. Like, these are the two options, okay? And that is why dogs are haram, because any person who have dogs will not have children. Or maybe the reason why Muhammad doesn't want people to have dogs is because if you have dogs, you're going to, a relationship a man will have with a dog will make the man, like, especially when it's a domestic pet that you kind of, you have as something that you care for and you really love this animal. It's going to make you develop humanity. I think that's one of the things having a pet does to somebody. It makes you develop humanity. And Muhammad does not want you to develop humanity because he wants you to be a murderous soldier for Allah. Okay, if you are going to go to, if Muhammad wants you to go out there and slay the disbelievers and, cut off their throats and like kill them mercilessly and subjugate the ones you are called to subjugate and rape their wives and do all these despicable things that Allah has commanded you to do. If you are going to be able to do that, then you are not supposed to be somebody who has emotions and humanity. And that's one thing having a pet does to you. It gives you humanity. Allah does not want that. So it's like, no dogs. And they are devils, essentially. Maybe that's the sign from Allah, Sneeko. Have you ever thought of that?
To have a bunch of fucking dogs. Everybody in Miami pushing around a little Frenchie, putting a dog in a stroller. Have a kid. You're weird. Fuck dogs.
All of a sudden, Sneeko thinks dogs are weird because of Islam. This is what Islam does to the human mind, ladies and gentlemen.
Fuck dogs.
This is what it does to the human mind. It's really sad to see. And here is Mohammed Hijab talking about how dogs.
However, when those Zionists came in with their dogs,
according to Mohammed Hijab, they are an act of provocation, guys.
however, when those Zionists came in with their dogs, that was an act of provocation. So what we're saying now, and I'm making it very clear so everyone understands, if those dogs come close to us again, we will see it as an act of aggression, and we will kill those dogs.
Can you imagine that? Can you imagine that? Imagine if somebody says that about an animal that Muslims hold dear. Let's say Muslims hold cats there and they love to have cats. And then somebody say, you can see how the policemen are trying to like placate him and make, like appease him like he's a deity or something. I mean, the dhimmi mentality in the West is amazing. It's really, really amazing. Yes, this video.
This is a Muslim country. This is a Muslim country. And every single one of you will be Muslim.
So somebody is saying, bro, if you like your religion so much, why don't you go to a Muslim country? I don't understand you, bro. And his response is,
this is a Muslim country. And every single one of you will be Muslim. It's just that simple. Because Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala says, this religion of mine will enter every single home, whether you like it or not. It would overtake every religion, whether you like it or not.
And they keep you know, it's not, you know, it's just, you know, of course, he does. Here is an example of what I was talking about earlier, right? Where I said everything about Ramadan has to do with food. This is from Mayor Zoran Kwame. This Kwame is funny. Yeah, you're from Uganda, bro. True to your Ugandan roots, Kwame. This is Mayor Zora Kwame Mamdani, and he's talking about Ramadan, and you can see. It's all about food. It's all about food. All about food. Finally, you know, like an ad that perfectly represents Ramadan. It is about food. It's not about fasting. It's about feasting. And I support this message 100%. This is what Ramadan is all about. It's about feasting. What else do I want to talk about? Of course, you have Lily J wishing everyone. Then you have Tucker Carlson you have Tucker Carlson in Israel. There are some things about that we'll look at, hopefully. But before we get into that, let's listen to this Muslimah tell us about dogs.
Do you know that having dogs in your home without any valid reason causes you to lose huge amounts of rewards daily?
We are aware of that. We are aware of that. It is in Sahih Bukhari and Sahih Muslim. Yeah.
And also keeps angels away from your home? Prophet Muhammad ﷺ warns us about this in an authentic hadith, saying, whoever keeps a dog, except for herding, hunting, or farming, will have 2 qirats of good deeds deducted every day. And it is said that a qirat is equivalent to a huge mountain. So if you're losing 2 qirats, that means you're losing 2 mountains daily. And it gets worse. Prophet Muhammad ﷺ also said that no angel will enter a home with a dog inside. Imagine your home where you pray, make dua, and seek blessings. Angels stay away from because of a dog. Islam teaches us to be kind to animals, but also follow guidance. So if you or anybody that you know owns a dog without any valid reason, think twice. Share this so others can learn.
Alhamdulillah. Alhamdulillah. So when the Muslims say dogs are unclean, and someone is like, yeah, this is kind of Sharia in New York City. So it's like, oh no, you're being an Islamophobe. This is what the Quran teaches about dogs. This is what, not the Quran rather, this is what the Hadith, this is what Muhammad teaches his followers about dogs. This is from Dan again. I'm still on the dogs issue. He said, Megyn Kelly attacked Randy Fine because she wanted him to target the individual who wanted to ban dog, not the entire groups. Or not the entire group, rather. Why am I reading like I'm from a third world country, even though I'm from one? Megyn Kelly attacked Randy Fine because he wanted him to attack the individual who wanted to ban dogs, not the entire group. I agree with her. Let's see if Megyn Kelly herself will agree with Megyn Kelly when she learns that it was Muhammad who commanded the killing of dogs. Interesting. You know. And then you have this one. This is somebody pointing out. He said, I have no problem with the king wishing other religions well on certain holy days. But even I can see the difference between the two posts. Can the word Christian no longer be used? Christians are labeled as all who deserve it. On this subject, I understand the criticism. So here are the two posts. So you have this one from the royal family. That's from the king, King Charles, I believe. And he said, wishing all Muslims in the UK, the Commonwealth, and around the world a blessed and peaceful Ramadan. And then when it has to do with Lent, he said, today marks Ash Wednesday, the beginning of Lent, a season of reflection, prayer, and service. May the Lent be a time of reward for all who observed. For all who observe it. The Lent is seen as if it's a broad holiday for everyone. As many as will observe it, may it be a time of renewal for them. But, Ramadan, all of a sudden, he knows who it is for. Very interesting. And that is a defender of the faith, by the way. And of course, yeah, you have Sneeko being now Sneeko is a good Muslim after all the hanging out with. I mean, this is one thing that is very interesting about someone like Sneeko, a Muslim like Sneeko. Sneeko is going to go to the clubs, he's going to order drinks, he's going to be caught on stream eating pork. In fact, there is one incident, I don't know if it is recent, where he was drinking like an energy drink or like a food drink while Ramadan is still ongoing. Forget it. Like, you bought it, you opened it, you put it there, and then you drag it out. Oh, I made a mistake. Oh, subhanallah. Of course, but then it's Ramadan, and all of a sudden he's a good Muslim. He's like sleeping in the mosque. I like this kind of sleeping in the mosque. It's kind of amazing that he's sleeping in the mosque, and also his cameraman is like perfectly positioned to take a picture of him doing just that, because completely natural, nothing staged. Of course, the cameraman just happened to see him sleeping in the mosque and was like, you know what, this is a good shot, let me take it, it's going to be amazing. Of course, this is purely random, not planned, not staged. And yeah. Yep. And then we have Baklava. So a Muslim man with a dog has a reminder for the distractions like Laura Luma. Epstein wasn't Muslim. What has Jeffrey?
All I know is that it's been a few days. There hasn't been a single big arrest yet. The files have been out. Where's humanity? But guess what? Epstein wasn't Muslim. Luna, let's go. All I know is that it's...
And he's owning the Islamophobes, of course. He's owning the Islamophobes. And I love Backlover's selective outrage. It's really fantastic, right? Backlover is after Jeffrey Epstein. He needs people to be arrested. Backlover, I just want to ask, do you have this outrage only for pedophiles in the West? Or does it extend to like pedophiles in Afghanistan? Does it extend to like pedophiles in Saudi Arabia, in the UAE, in all these states where there are no age limitation for marriage, in Somalia? Does it extend to pedophiles who are pedophiles in nations where it is not even considered pedophilia, where as long as it is marriage, it is fine? Does it have the same outrage for Nigerian girls who have VVF, who have their urinary tract destroyed because of having children while they are underage or being sexually penetrated while they are underage? Does it have the same outrage for those girls whose marriage and whose marriage and the consummation of that marriage is considered Islamic in the Muslim world and is being encouraged in the Muslim world through laws that allow it? Like, does it have the same outrage for those girls? Does it have the same outrage for what you see in Yemen, where a girl dies on her wedding night, which is kind of the one that made the news, because she was married young and the husband was trying to sexually penetrate her when she was clearly not physically ready for it, even though she was deemed so by her wali? Does it have the same outrage for a 54-year-old or 53, I don't know, 50-something-year-old prophet who married a 6-year-old and consummated it at 9, and then received revelation from Allah that includes the waiting period, divorce waiting period for prepubescent girls, which and then started a religion where it is okay to marry a prepubescent girl, divorce her, and also marry her again while she's still yet to see her menses. Does it have the same outrage for all of this, or is it only when it has to do with the West and when it has to do with Jeffrey Epstein? That is just what I want to know, Beck Lover. And maybe you should, do some more exercise. You really look like you have like an unhealthy amount of fat. I'm just saying. And yeah, but speaking of Sneeko, here's another clip from Sneeko where he's according to the post here, says Sneeko shows Muslims how to respond when Christians bring up Aisha's age. Mary was married at 12 or 13 years old, and Rebecca was just 3 when she got married. All right, so let's see this.
And next time for the Muslims in the chat, when you see Christians talk about the age of Aisha all the time, but what about the age of Mary? And again, people don't understand the difference between Jews consider.
Okay, first of all, Sneeko, I know you don't. I know hanging around Sheikh Uthman and hanging around the Warner and people like that have really reduced your IQ. It's really sad to see. It has really reduced your IQ and your ability to think critically. It is sad to see. Like, Sneeko is a sad case because he's just a regurgitator. That is what Sneeko is. He doesn't think, he just repeats. Sneeko doesn't think, he just repeats. Like, Sneeko hears something, thinks it is wild. Oh, this is crazy. And then just repeats it as facts. He doesn't even fact check what is being told. For Sneeko, anything that sounds shocking is true. If I tell him something shocking, that shocking thing I just told Sneeko is the truth. That is his standard for what is true and what is not, how shocking it is. The more shocking it is to Sneeko, then it is true. The less shocking it is to Sneeko, then it is not true. And he believes because there is this shock value that saying Mary was 12 kind of gives when it is being stated. And, some Christians who don't really know Christianity that well will be like, whoa, I never heard of that. Because of that shocking effect, it's like, oh, this definitely has to be true. But it is not, Sneeko. What are you basing Mary's age on? You people have said it's in the Catholic encyclopedia. Sorry. People have said it's in this Catholic encyclopedia. It is not. You said it is it's in the Proto-Evangelium of James. It is not. This is what I find interesting. They say, oh, according to the Proto-Evangelium of James, Mary was 12 when she took in with baby Jesus. Not true. According to the Proto-Evangelium of James, she was 16. And nobody takes the Proto-Evangelium of James as credible historical document, like something that is like talking about the actual history of Jesus. Everything known about Jesus' childhood is kind of not spoken about in the Gospels, which are reliable. But okay, you want to go with the Proto-Evangelium of James, and yet you don't even quote it accurately. You're like, oh, she's 12 or she's 13. She's not. According to that account that you keep talking about, which I know is what you are referencing because you are a good student at this point, or a good student of Sheikh Uthman, because just like him, you are also hypocritical. Just like him, behind closed doors, you don't really follow the Sunnah. You are a Muslim for the camera, just like him. I mean, he's really, really creating a good disciple, which is you. And just like him, you repeat nonsense. Like, you repeat bottom of the barrel kind of nonsense. Where are you getting it from? That Mary was 12 or 13? Where?
Mary a liar. Some consider her a whole stuff for law, right? Mother Mary, mother of Jesus. In Christianity, say the mother of God. The mother of God was married 12 to 13 years old. The bigger point.
Where are you getting it from? That she was married at 12 or 13. You're getting it from the Proto-Evangelium of James. Okay? And unless, like, what does that even have to? Also, another thing that someone like Sneeko doesn't understand. He doesn't understand a lot. is that he doesn't even recognize that even if Mary was 12, let's say according to the Proto-Evangelium of James, she was married to Joseph at 12. There is nothing in Christianity that kind of says that is justified. Oh, because of this marriage, we are justifying this marriage. Yes, this is the age where women should get married according to God's proclamation. We don't have a divine proclamation on the age of marriage. We don't have God saying, you know what, I divinely sanction and okay this marriage that to a girl of 12. We don't have that. But in Islam, we do. But in Islam, we do. We have that in the Prophet Muhammad. The issue with Muhammad's marriage to Aisha, look, if you look at all the prophets in the Bible, that you see prophets in the Bible who did very, very like horrible things, right? Moses was angry, and because of his anger, he killed an Egyptian and then ran away. He was kind of a murderer, if you will. Abraham told lies, did it twice, right? You have Jacob, who was a cheat, essentially robbed his brother of his birthright. You know, you have characters like that in the Bible that God, I mean, David took a man's wife and killed the man, right? But you don't see God's stamp of approval on their despicable character. You don't see God say, you know what, this person is the perfect moral example for every person who wants to come unto me, every person who wants to be acceptable before me. You have to be like this person. Now, granted, God speaks well of this people. Like about David, the scripture says David is a man after God's heart. You understand? That was said about David. Also, good things we also said about Moses and the rest of them, right? There were good reports about them, despite the despicable things that they did. But the despicable things that they did was not endorsed. It wasn't like God was giving it his stamp of approval. So you don't have that in Christianity. But Muhammad said that in a dream, Angel Gabriel handed over Aisha to him. Well, I showed him Aisha. And that was when he knew that Aisha was his wife. In the Quran, you have either prescribed for prepubescent girls. We are not talking about the same thing. So all this, first of all, this Rebecca was 3. It doesn't even if it was true, it doesn't even apply. But the worst part is that it is not even true. That is what it is not even true. It is made up. It is false. It is not true. Rebecca was not 3.
Wait, don't get caught up on this stuff. Societal norms change.
Yes. See, Sneeko, that is the point you don't understand. Societal norms change. But in Islam, this is not societal norm. This is religious law. This is Sharia.
You cannot compare today's world to back then. You see how
that's not what this. Oh well.
How stupid it is to talk about the norms of today to then. If you're gonna say, okay, well, she was this age, she was 9, she was 19, this stuff. Okay, girls are doing OnlyFans right now. Is that normal? That's accepted. That's morally acceptable within society today. Back then, they would have thrown rocks at you. If you open up an OnlyFans account, you might get burned. Like you might get burned for that. You know that Mary got married at the age of 13? It's either 12 or 13.
Did you shave your head, Sneeko, just to show us you are really smooth? Is that what this shaved head was supposed to signify? That you have a smooth brain, because you're really talking like somebody who does.
They debate about that.
Really?
Yep. Yes, Mary.
Mary was 13.
Also, Rebecca was 3 in Christianity. But again, yeah, look it up, Google it.
I'm not gonna lie, that's bad. Wait, so you're saying Rebecca was 3?
And did they Google it? He said you people should Google it, and none of you did. Rebecca was 3. I don't know. Oh, what?
Yeah, Google it. Yeah, it's in Genesis, Rebecca agreed to leave her family and marry Isaac, and she was 3 years old. So here's the traditional interpretation. A lot of people are upset about this, saying, oh, it's in Genesis, but Genesis is part of the Bible, right? The traditional interpretation based on calculation of Genesis regarding the timing of her birth and Sarah's death. Some traditions, including Rashi, calculate she was 3 years old, or in some sources, 10 to 14. So even if it wasn't 3 and it was 10 to 14, still under 18.
No, Neon, you smiling at the...
No, Sneeko, bring that thing. You said, traditional interpretation. Okay. Likely her to teen around 12 to 14 or up to 20. Traditional interpretation 8.3 based on calculation from Genesis 22. This is Dawa calculation, but it's fine. Regarding the timing of her birth and Sarah's death, some tradition, including Rashi, calculate she was 3 years old. Some tradition, only one tradition. Like whenever you ask ChatGPT for something, ask them for sources. Like where are they getting this from? Alternative view. Teenager, this test described her as a young marriageable woman who was strong enough. He did not read that. Who was strong enough to draw water for 10 camels, which critics argue is impossible for a 3-year-old. The Book of Jubilee suggests she was 20. So he did not read that part because, of course, that does not align. That does not align with whatever he wants to push. So he ignores that part and says, oh, this is the traditional view. Why didn't he read the alternative view? Because it does not align. And maybe that would have caused him to think, could a 3-year-old fetch water for 10 camels? Could a 3-year-old do that? The stupidity of Sneeko is amazing.
Still under 18.
No, Neon, you smiling at the weird parts. I don't know.
He's just seeing how your logic doesn't make sense, bro.
Hey, you're the funniest guy I ever met, bro.
And of course, Sneeko is only going to use this argument for stupid people like himself. It's just kind of how Islam works. It thrives in, like David Wood always say, it thrives, it does well in the atmosphere of ignorance. When you are surrounded by people who don't even know what you are talking about, that is when it does well. But when you find yourself in a group of people who know what you are talking about and know that who obviously none of this will work for, then you have to find something else to say. Of course, Rebecca was not 3. Of course, Mary was not 12. But do these people care? No. The tactics is also, if you're going to tell the truth about Muhammad, we are going to lie about every prophet that we claim to respect. So we are going to lie about Isaac. We are going to lie about Mary. We are going to lie about Jesus. We are going to lie. It's like the opposite of Kendrick Lamar. You know, Kendrick Lamar was like, don't tell lies about me and I won't tell the truth about you. For the Muslims, it's kind of reverse. Don't tell the truth about me or I will tell lies about you.
You don't even know what the fuck.
No, Neon, you're funny. You're funny.
You just called, bro, like 5 minutes ago, you just called all your people pedophiles.
So that is what we find with that Misery Love Company. This is based on this is another moron. This is based on a Jewish tafsir commentary written by French Rabbi Rashi 3,000 years after the event took place. This Jewish rabbi, writing 700 years after the Bible, has no authority over Christian doctrine, canon, or tradition. This commentary, written 300 years after the fact, it is not even a consensus among Jewish scholars. The Bible gives no explicit age of Rebecca at her marriage or betrothal in Genesis 24 to 25. Why do we as Christians even have to address it? It is because of the slander of hypocrisy of Muslims. They quote Sahih Hadith by Bukhari, written 300 years after Prophet Muhammad, but think it is prudent to cite a commentary written 3,000 years after the event as fact, to arrive at the conclusion that she was 3 at marriage, with Isaac being 40 per Genesis 25 verse 20. Several specific assumptions must be made by stringing together verses and events in very particular way. Most biblical scholars, Jewish and Christian, and modern readers reject the 3-year-old claim precisely because it relies on these assumptions. The claim is not part of any Christian tradition, and most Christians have never heard of it, as it is part of Jewish commentary from 131st century. From the 131st century. That is crazy. I mean, it's just obvious. Everyone knows that this person. Then the usual meme. This is Rebecca at 3. This said pure unfiltered dour love. Rebecca was 3. Who told you that? Talmudians, huh? And you take them as authority. expediently because it makes you feel less bad about being a zealous pedophile follower. There's literally zero evidence that Mary was 12 and Rebecca was 3. If you're going to defend your religion, defend it with truth. Of course. Muhammad did not even defend his religion with the truth. Talk more of sneaker. As Jesus would say, a servant is not greater than his master. Servant is not greater than this is a funny tweet. Say, are Muslims allowed to accept cookies from browsers from a browser during Ramadan? And now let's listen to this another Muhammad Aisha's age nonsense. Listen to this one.
The 4 wives, okay? Because the Prophet ﷺ, after Sidna Khadija had passed away.
It's about Muhammad. He's talking about Muhammad's marriage generally. So let's listen to this.
The 4 wives, okay? Because the Prophet ﷺ, after Sidna Khadija had passed away, he did have multiple wives.
Multiple wives already sounds bad, but honestly, it still doesn't capture the reality of Muhammad, because Muhammad had more than 10 wives. And now this girl is...
So some hadiths say 9, some hadiths say 12. So it's kind of 9 to 12 wives at one time. And in fact, there's a hadith that said he slept with all of his wives in one night. And he only took a single bath. So he slept with 12 or 9 women in one night, one after the other, and he only bathed once. So, and of course, he did that because he had the strength of 30 men. Alhamdulillah.
Going to cope with polygyny in Islam.
Because if you as a man come to me today and you have money and you have wealth and you have power and you tell me I want to go to a genocide-stricken area like Gaza and I want to marry one of these widows with 3 or 4 kids to help take care of them because it is my duty as a Muslim man, who am I as a woman to stand in the way of that because my ego doesn't like it?
You will always see this move. They frame polygyny as something permissible only to help poor women in crisis. They want...
Yeah, because the women Muhammad married were poor women. Aisha was a poor woman. Like, her father was literally a prominent man in Mecca. Like, very prominent. He wasn't poor. It wasn't like they were barely getting by and Muhammad was helping. In fact, Muhammad was not... This is kind of interesting. Muhammad was not even treating his wife well, giving them money as they needed. In fact, one of the complaints that Muhammad had was that his wife were always around him asking him for money. Yes. Muhammad was busy marrying women that were beautiful. He was marrying women for political connection. He was marrying women for various reasons. None of them. In fact, how many women? Why did he marry the wife of his adopted, formerly adopted son or adoptive son? Why did he do that? Was he trying to help Zainab? Zainab was already from royalty. In fact, that was why Zainab didn't want to marry Zayd, because she was, when it has to do with status wise, she was of higher status than Zayd. That's why she didn't want to marry Zayd. She married Zayd because the prophet was like, go ahead and marry him. And then when the marriage did not work, Muhammad swooped in and took the woman. Why did Muhammad do that? Did Muhammad do that because he was trying to help less privileged women who could not take care of themselves?
Want it to look compassionate. They want it to look like charity. But that's not how polygyny actually works in Islam. Islam does not say, have 4 wives when women are in crisis. Have 4 wives only to help widows. That's not the rule. Polygyny is allowed in ordinary life, anytime, for any reason. That's the structure. The humanitarian polygyny story is a modern edit meant to make it sound softer. Also, if the goal were genuinely help, marriage wouldn't be required. Support doesn't require sexual access.
Exactly. It's the only way you can help a widow is by marrying her. There's no other way. There's no other way to help a widow than to marry her and make her wife number 3. That is the only way to help them, obviously.
Simple. So stop trying to sell polygyny as compassion. That's not how it functions in practice.
It's not about your ego and your lust and what you think you deserve as a man. It is a test, and maybe one of the biggest tests that you will ever have to go through as a Muslim man.
Yeah, so the test that Muhammad kept failing. If that was a test, then Muhammad was a big failure, Because the reason why you have the Sunni Shia divide was because of Muhammad's polygamy.
Basically, girls, this is what she's saying. Polygyny isn't about you being oppressed. It's about men being tested with asymmetric freedom. Freedom you, as a girl, are never going to get. But Muslim men are the victims, not you.
As a woman, I had to really sit down and go like, okay, my ego doesn't get it.
This is how self-gaslighting works, by the way. She's uncomfortable with polygyny in Islam, and instead of examining that discomfort, she tells herself there's no rational basis for it. It's all just ego.
Who am I as a woman to stand in the way of that because my ego doesn't like it?
You're not allowed to stand in the way anyway, because your husband isn't obligated to ask your permission before taking another wife. So yeah, I hope your husband pulls up with a second wife on a random afternoon, so you can realize how it feels to be a victim of the ruling you're defending here.
Oh, this is so funny, man. This is so funny. Here's a Plateau Asian girl. This is a Nigerian person saying this. So he said Catholics do 40 days of fasting and prayer, just like Ramadan fasting. But it's non-Muslims who are expected not to eat in front of Muslims during Ramadan. The whole thing doesn't even make sense. It's like expecting non-cripples not to walk in front of people in wheelchairs. Stop forcing others to change their behavior and lifestyle to accommodate your religious views when you wouldn't do the same if the tables were turned. Of course they would not. Of course they will not. Right now in Kano State, they will do the usual where you are not allowed to eat in public. And here is something that I find really interesting.
مرحبا وعليكم السلام ورحمة الله وبركاته.
Oh, let me see if I can change this to this so that you guys can see what is happening here. Let me change it to this. All right. Let me make myself smaller. Let's start from the beginning so you guys can read the subtitle. This is a funny Ramadan video.
مرحبا وعليكم السلام ورحمة الله وبركاته.
يا شيخ اليوم بالغلط وقعت أمي شاورما مع زيادة طحينية.
نعم.
وكمان قطعة تفاح وتقريبا 3 لتر مي. فمش عارف هل أكمل صيامي ولا أطعمني الله وسقاني.
Good question. Look at his face. He can't believe. Oh my God.
مرحبا وعليكم السلام ورحمة الله وبركاته.
يا شيخ اليوم بالغلط وقعت أمي شاورما مع زيادة طحينية.
نعم.
وكمان قطعة تفاح
I mean, the guy was like, it's so funny. The imam was like, yeah, you accidentally fell. Like, let me go back. Okay, this is funny. He said, today I accidentally
اليوم بالغلط وقعت أمي شاورما مع زيادة طحينية.
With extra the guy was like, okay, like, okay. The imam was not getting it. He was like, okay, like, fine, okay. You know what? That is already ridiculous, but you know what? Fine, okay. That first statement is already like, what? That's supposed to be the response, like, what? But the imam was like, okay, it happens. You can like accidentally fall and shawarma will get into your mouth with extra tahini. You know, it happens. Okay, fine. So the caller is like, you know what? Let me go more ridiculous. If he's going to say okay to that, let me double it.
وكمان قطعة تفاح وتقريبا 3 لتر مي. فمش عارف هل أكمل.
Hey, my guy. What?
صيامي ولا أطعمني الله وسقاني.
Was it Allah who fed me? Should I keep fasting? Or was it Allah who fed me?
أكمل صيامي ولا أطعمني الله وسقاني.
The Imam can't believe it.
ورحمة الله وبركاته.
مرحبا وعليكم السلام ورحمة الله وبركاته.
The audacity. my God. The audacity of the caller. The imam is like, I can't believe my ears. I can't believe this right now. Oh, this is so interesting, man. And here is Nico again.
3, 2.
I mean, it's kind of weird for Sneeko to be in this kind of space, after
3.
After the things we've heard about him and, the one and how the one that wants to take it up the butt for dawah, for these guys to be in such a tight space in this elevator, all of them, like, and you know how they dress when they're about to go for you know what they're about to go for when they're going to triangulate the Kaaba. You know how they dress. They dress, they are thinly dressed. It's like as they're standing next to each other, they can most likely feel each other's privates, if you know what I mean. Like, I mean, the one that is really excited, you can
2.
Yeah. I mean, this is the kind of situation he loves to find himself in, I believe. I mean, come on. This is not.
So we got both the Akis meeting each other. The Aki from the UK, the Aki from the US.
I was thinking there's a problem. Instead of running to Salah, they run to Saleh. So anyone watching, look, I got the whole Ummah on my back waiting. I can't disappoint people. That's different motivation. What's going on?
So, yep, that is, I'm not going to watch the whole of that. Yeah, I'm definitely not going to watch the whole of that. No. Anyway, back to the dogs issue. Let's listen to Glenn Beck and his take on that.
Communists, socialists, Islamists all working together to destabilize the West and destroy Israel and America. How is that possibly going to happen? That's not going to happen. Oh, by the way, let's say hello to our good friend, Governor Gavin Newsom. He called on Representative Randy Fine of Florida to resign over comments the Republican made about Muslims. What did he say?
He's not the only one. You have Megyn Kelly. You should keep that in mind. I know it's easy to attack somebody on the other side, but you have to, anyways, keep going.
If they force us to choose, the choice between dogs and Muslims is not a difficult one. Oh no, he's got to resign right away. You know what? Not all Muslims are Islamists.
Okay.
But I will pick the dogs over the Islamists every day and twice on Sunday. I know what my dog does. I can't talk to you about what Islamicists do because that would be racists. I don't know if you heard what this activist in New York said, but dogs are not Islam. They're not part of Islam, and they shouldn't be in the street. You should not have them in New York City. You should not be able to have a dog in New York City because it's not Islam. I don't care. And you know what? I'd be happy to announce that every dog is a good Christian, that every dog is going to heaven because they've accepted Jesus Christ in their hearts. I'm not going to judge my dog. My dog is a good Christian. What a bunch of bullcrap. They're not Islam. I don't care if they're Islam. Welcome to the West. This is Western Judeo-Christian Western values. America, you're killing yourself because you refuse to say anything. You're killing yourself because you refuse to stand up for what you know is right.
Glenn Beck, I know, it's easier to talk like this, and I get why. You know what? Kudos to you. I'm going to say kudos to you. But I just want to ask one question, Glenn. I just want to ask one simple question. What is the difference between a Muslim and an Islamist? Just what is the theological difference between a Muslim and an Islamist? Based on Islamic theology, just give me the difference. How do they differ? How is one different from the other? You are yet almost pulling your hair about the whole thing, but you're not even informed. That is my problem with those who have takes on this thing. It's just ignorant takes. I get it. In fact, I'm going to give you credit more than I'll give Megyn Kelly, but my goodness, just tell me the difference. What is the difference between a Muslim and an Islamist? What is the difference? Is there any passage of the Quran that condemns Islamism? Is there anything about Islam that says a Muslim is not an Islamist? Where did you get this idea from? What is the difference between a Muslim and an Islamist? Tell me, Glenn. Here is Malik. This is a Nigerian Muslim. And he said, there are things even Muslims find hard to swallow about Islam, and critics use them to attack the faith. Topics like the Prophet's marriage to Aisha at 6, marry more than 4 wives, marriage to his adopted son's wife, the splitting of the moon. Yeah, his moon was 72 virgins, killing for blasphemy, forced conversions, the story of the jinn that slept with Muhammad. The story of the jinn that slept with Muhammad and the splitting of the moon, are they not the same story? Anyways, the Prophet's ascension to heaven, his prophecies, fighting in battle and treatment of prisoners. You mean the prophecies like the ones that didn't come true? And then Allah told him that like Muhammad gave a prophecy, the prophecy did not come true. And then Allah told him, and then Muhammad, or let's not say Allah, Muhammad received the prophecy from Angel Gabriel telling him that, he's going to win a battle. And then they go to the battle and then they were like defeated, like terribly defeated, right? That happens, and then Allah conveniently tells Muhammad, oh, no. I sent you to a battle knowing that you are going to lose because I wanted to test you. Interesting stuff from the Quran. Interesting stuff from Islam. Anyways, fighting in battle and treatment of prisoners, slavery in early Islamic society, punishments in Sharia law, apostasy and its consequences, the treatment of women historically, jihad and its interpretations. These are real questions people have. Yet, instead of facing them, many rush out to shout Islamophobia. Silent reflection and honest discussion, not anger or denial, are what these issues need. Somebody say, wait, what do you mean a jinn slept with Muhammad? It wasn't jinn, it was the men of Al-Zut. And somebody say, Malik, answer this question. Some of us Christians wish to know and understand why these things happen. I really respect you for being open to discussion. Answer this question. So I don't even understand what he's trying to say here, but he's trying to tell you, say he already did. And of course, his answers are mostly ridiculous. Let's not even try to find out his answers. Anyway, moving on. We have Brother Rashid giving a summary of what Islam says about dogs. Why does Islam have a problem with dogs? Let's stop pretending that this is cultural. The hostility towards dogs comes directly from Islamic texts. Glenn Beck, I hope you will read something like this and gain some knowledge. Muhammad is portrayed as disliking dogs while showing affection towards cats. The result, a body of hadith literature that repeatedly demeans dogs and treats them as spiritually problematic creatures. Text here are the texts. Of course, we've seen that from one of the videos that we reacted to, but let's repeat it again. 1, angel refused to enter a house with a dog. Angels do not enter a house that has either a dog or a picture in it. That's Sahih al-Bukhari. So if you own a dog, divine beings stay away. 2nd, dogs cut off your prayer. A woman, a donkey, and a dog cut off the prayer. That is in Sahih Muslim. That's authentic hadith. Notice the grouping: women, dogs, and women, donkey, and dogs, all placed in the same category as obstacles to worship. Then number 3, Muhammad ordered dogs to be killed. Ibn Umar reported that the Messenger of Allah commanded the killing of dogs. This is in Sahih Muslim. This was not metaphorical. It was an order. And then he said black dogs are demonic. Now, black dogs, but black dogs with white spots in the eyesight. Like, yeah, I think they have white spots around their eyes. Such dogs he called the devil. Black dogs specifically targeted. We are dogs. We are dogs, not a species among creatures. I will command that they all be killed, but kill every pure black one. That is in Sunan Abu Dawud. Why the black ones? Because black dogs are called evil. The black dog is the devil in Sahih Muslim. Not symbolic, not poetic. They are the devil. Of course, also Muhammad said a woman advances and retreats in the shape of a devil. So you can see the correlation. You can see how women and dogs in Islam are kind of, finding, you can see the similarities, right? A black dog is the devil. A woman advances and retreats in the shape of a devil. You can see the similarities in Islam, and you can see how Islam is really treating women and dogs very well. Anyways, let's keep reading. Only useful dogs are allowed. The Prophet ordered dogs to be killed except hunting dogs, sheep dogs, and guard dogs. Sahih Muslim and Sahih al-Bukhari. In other words, dogs are tolerated only if they serve a function. As companions, no. Dogs are widely considered ritually impure in Islamic law. Their saliva is treated as contaminating. Entire purification rules revolve around contact with them. So when someone says Islam doesn't hate dog, the text say otherwise. Muslims who keep dog today either ignore this narration, interpret them beyond recognition, reinterpret them beyond recognition, which is one thing that I've realized that Muslims now do. Muslims like Malik that we just watched, that we just read from. That is what they do. They reinterpret them so much that you don't even recognize the verse anymore. Or they just clearly just ignore it. These are just the cultural Muslims, the ones that are just Muslims in name only. So, or the third one is these are the ones that simply don't know what their sources say. They're just completely ignorant. And that, ladies and gentlemen, is the truth. That is 100% the truth. And this is from Kano. The Kano State Censorship Board has ordered the immediate suspension of all entertainment centers across the state, including event centers and DJs. The Kano State in Nigeria is a state that, adheres to Sharia. They have their own form of Sharia law. So here's another one. Telling Muslims that the evil they follow isn't evil, and the problem is alleged deviant form of Islam that extremists follow. It's not only one of the most self-destructive lies the West ever told, but it gives Muslims a pass for being part of that evil. That needs to end. And I agree with this sentiment 100%. Muslims need to know that by taking the identity of a Muslim, even though you don't agree with everything that is in the Quran and everything that is in the Sunnah of the Prophet, even though you don't agree with all of them because you are either ignorant of them or you kind of come up with this ridiculous interpretation of them, even though you do all of that, the fact that you are a Muslim, you are contributing to that identity. You are promoting that identity. You are still part of the problem. Okay? You are still part of the problem. And you are the cover for the radicals. You are the excuse for radicals and their misbehavior. You give legitimacy to something that is abhorrent. It's like I come and I say I'm a Nazi. I say, oh, I'm a Nazi. I'm a Nazi. I throw up Nazi symbol. I have a Nazi tattoo. I have the swastika on my arm. I have like Nazi, merchandise or whatever it is that it is called. I have it in my house. I have like their flag and everything. I am like, when it has to do with outward appearance of a Nazi, I embody it as much as I can. I even say Hitler is a great guy. I love Hitler. I love the guy. I say things like that. But then I'm like, all those Holocaust stuff, all those killing of Jews stuff, I'm not really in support of that. I really am opposed to killing any human being. I am all for live and let live. If I say all of that, somebody is going to rightly point out that, look, the fact that you adopt the Nazi identity does not make what the ideology is about any less pleasant. It does not make it any less brutal, any less despicable. Do you understand? Like, just because I don't support all the, I'm a Nazi, I am a Hitler fanboy, but I don't support all the gassing of the Jews stuff. I don't support all of that. I don't even think that is true. I'm like Nick Fuentes. Did that really happen? I'm not all for killing and rounding up of Jews. I'm not even all for, treating any person other than white as inferior. I'm not even in support of the idea that, the Aryan race is the superior race. I'm not in support of all of that. I just think Hitler is cool. I think he's, he's really freaking cool. Like Nick Fuentes will say, I think Hitler is cool. I think the guy is like, an Australia or a painter from Austria. I think he's just misunderstood. And I think there are so many things about him that we can emulate. We can emulate his resilience, his his creativity. He invented the microphone or whatever it is that people say he invented. He was really a creative guy. He was innovative. And that is what I admire about him. That's why I think Hitler is, a great figure in history. And I think he's not being represented properly. Imagine someone is saying all of that. And you're like, oh, well, we are going to give him a pass, not all Nazis. We don't do that with the Nazis. We don't. But when it comes to Islam, we do that. Why? No, here's something interesting.
The word, and with a decree of yours you will annihilate them. Ya Rahman Rahimin, you the word, and with a decree of yours you will annihilate them. Ya Rahman Rahimin, you annihilated. And you just
before we get into the video, let me read the caption. Muslim daily prayer in Dearborn, Michigan. Oh Allah, kill every Jew, Christian, and Americans. It's time to deport all of these animals. Okay, calling them animals is kind of, but I get where you're coming from. And yeah, this is kind of how Muslims pray. A good sample of how they,
the word, and with a decree of yours you will annihilate them. Ya Rahman Rahimin, you annihilated. And you destroyed the likes of Ad and Thamud and Fir'aun. These are the Fir'auns and the Ad and Thamud of today. Ya Rahman Rahimin, we ask you, Ya Allah, destroy them. Destroy them, Allah. Take them off the service of this earth. Ya Rahman Rahimin, Ya Akram al-Akramin.
على القوم الكافرين اللهم انصر الإسلام وأعز المسلمين وأذل الشرك والمشركين اللهم انصر عبادك الموحدين اللهم انصرهم على القوم المجرمين.
And by criminal people, they just mean polytheists, those who don't believe in Islam. You're criminals according to Islam.
أحصهم عددا اللهم اقتلهم بددا ولا تغادر منهم.
اللهم يا رب إنهم يجاهدون في سبيلك. اللهم إنهم يجاهدون في سبيلك. اللهم انصرهم يا رب العالمين. اللهم انصرهم على أعدائهم يا رب العالمين. اللهم عليك باليهود والنصارى. اللهم عليك باليهود وأعوانهم.
It was like, oh Allah, annihilate the Jews. Annihilate the Jews and the Christians. No, let me not say the Christians. Oh Allah, annihilate the Jews and their helpers.
عليك باليهود وأعوانهم فإنهم لا يعجزون. اللهم احصهم عددا. اللهم احصهم عددا.
Well, it turns out that they are a match for Allah. You need to see how they defeated, how they are slaughtering the Muslims. You need to see how the Muslims are being slaughtered by these people.
واقتلهم بلدا ولا تغادر منهم أحدا يا رب العالمين.
That's kind of what they always do. Oh, they are the Crusaders. They are no match for you. Well,
Allahumma destroy all the enemies of Islam. Allahumma destroy all the enemies of Islam. May Allah destroy them completely and show in us the great signs of Allah in their utter destruction, annihilation, humiliation.
عليك بالأمريكان ومن والاهم اللهم أحصهم عددا واقتلهم بددا ولا تغادر منهم أحدا.
يا رب اللهم اقتلهم بددا اللهم احصهم عددا واقتلهم بددا ولا تغادر منهم أحدا يا رب.
What kind of religion is this? I mean, you have in Christianity. That's why I always find it interesting when you see people who are like, oh, I converted to Islam because of whatever reason. I'm like, you see, on one hand, you have a religion that says, pray for your enemies. Do good to those who hate you. Bless those who despitefully use you. By so doing, you are like your heavenly Father who allows his Son to shine on both the godly and the ungodly. Be like your heavenly Father who shows kindness even to people who hate him, who extend his loving kindness even to people who do not regard him. That's what you find in Christianity. What do you find in Islam? Oh Allah, slay your enemies, destroy your enemies, destroy your enemies, destroy the enemies of Islam, grant your people victory, kill them one by one, find them, kill them one by one, don't leave any one of them. Come on, what kind of religion is this? It's a religion that is about hatred. But of course, you're going to find somebody in the West who's going to remind us that all of this we just saw is just extreme behavior. Okay, these are extremists. You know, all these Muslims we just saw, they are all extremists, all of them. As even the Quran that they are reading from, where that commands them to do all of this, all of that is just extreme behavior, extreme behavior, extreme behavior. Everything is extreme behavior. You know. What is this about?
How it goes, okay.
Sneeko finds out when Muslims arrived in Jerusalem and asked Christians where the Jews were. The Christians responded, "We murdered them." So he invited the Jews back so all the Abrahamic faith could live peacefully in the city of Jerusalem. Look how ungrateful the Zionists. This is the problem that I have with Sneeko. He hears this. He doesn't even ask questions like, is this true? Let me read up on this. Let me do my research. Let me be sure that what I'm saying is even true. He's just going to be there and be like, oh, can you imagine? Let's just watch this. Because
I want to meet some of the Jews living in Jerusalem. And so how it goes, okay. I want to meet some of the Jews living in Jerusalem. And Sophronius goes, there are no Jews in Jerusalem. And the Caliph goes, what do you mean there's no Jews in Jerusalem? The city is holy to the Jews. How could there be no Jews? And he says, well, us Christians, we pretty much murder them every chance we get. We really, oh my. How could there be no Jews? And he says, well, us Christians, we pretty much murder them every chance we get. We really hate Jews. In fact, in the war we just did against the Persians, the Jews sided with the Persians. And so we murdered 20,000 Jews in Jerusalem and completely purged the city of its remaining Jewish population. And Omar ibn al-Khattab goes, no, this is wrong. You can't do this. And so he turns to a convert to Islam, a Jewish convert to Islam, and he says, I need you to find me 80 Jewish families that were willing to volunteer to move to Jerusalem so we can reestablish a Jewish presence in the city. And that's how the Muslims conquered Jerusalem. And that's the stuff that's left out of your history books.
And what is the source for that? What is the source for that, Professor? Where is the proof of that? Where is the proof that Christians slaughtered 20,000 Jews during the war against the Persians? Where is proof of that? Where is the proof that it was Christians that expelled the Jews from Jerusalem? You're talking about the expulsion of the Jews from Jerusalem, and you said Christians did that, not Romans. Christians did that. The destruction of the temple was also Christians too, right? And yes, Jews were treated better. They were brought. You know, it was also a professor, a professional. Let me say a professional. He was also a professor, an academic that told the West that everyone was living in peace. Christians and Muslims were living in peace until the Crusaders came. Like it was all peaceful. You see, the radicals you see in society today, they sat under these classes and listened to this nonsense. That's what you need to realize right now. People, the radicals, people who go out there, like the nonsense information people are walking around with was taught to them in university by a professor like this who did not bring anything to back up his ridiculous claim. Just came around, just said anything that came to his mind, like, yeah, that's actually what happened. And people believed it.
Isn't that crazy?
Yeah, you know why? It's because they...
Yeah, it is crazy because it is not true. It is crazy because it is not true.
They want to push the narrative that Muslims are evil. They go, religion of peace. Doesn't this seem peaceful? The Romans were like, hey, look, raping, plundering, pillaging, rape.
Can you imagine this foolish person? What did the Romans did to Christians before the Holy Roman Empire? What did they do to Christians? What did Nero do to Christians?
So this is another insidious political plan You know, we thought the Muslim ban was something when that idea was put out there. To ban Muslims. You know, these, what do they call them? There's an article, hate mongers, Islamophobic people who don't wish to have Islam here in America. Are doing their utmost for both nationally and internationally, trying to put out the light of Islam. And a'udhu billah. Let them die in their rage. That's what the Quran says. I hate to mix politics.
Is it not interesting that this guy who is busy here, angry and upset that Muslims, there are people who don't want Islam in America. He's angry and upset by it. He's calling them names. He's calling these people Islamophobes and whatever. That's what they are called, rightfully so, I guess, according to him. And he does not recognize the irony of the fact that in Saudi Arabia, there are places where Christians are not allowed. Christians cannot even build churches there. Christians cannot publicly worship there. Christians cannot publicly, there's a limitation to how much a Christian can do in Saudi Arabia. Christians are not moving into Saudi Arabia. Islam is not like, let the Christians come in. He doesn't even see that as a problem. For him, he's like, these people are just enemies of Allah. These people are hateful people. Meanwhile, when they take over, America, they're going to kick the Christians out. They're going to treat the Christians as dhimmis. They're going to do far worse to the Christians than anything that they think the Christians are doing to them. Because there's no religious tolerance in Islam. They recognize this in their religion. They know it is there in their religion. And yet they're going to act like any person who is against them is somehow a problem. We are just supposed to sit back and allow ourselves to be subjugated. And if we don't just willfully allow ourselves to be subjugated, we are the problem. It is a problem that I do not want to be subjugated. It is a problem that people in America don't want to be subjugated under Islamic rule. It is a problem. It is your problem. You are the problem if you don't want to be subjugated. You are an Islamophobe. If you don't want the United States to turn to Saudi Arabia, where Christians cannot openly practice their religion as they currently can now, if you don't want that, you are the problem. You should want it. You are the enemy. You are the bad person. And the victim, the obvious victim in this situation is the person who is trying to subjugate you. Is the person who wants to lord it over you, who wants to turn you into a dhimmi. That person is the victim here.
But see, they have a political agenda.
No, they have a political agenda and you don't. They have a political agenda in their country, but you, a foreigner in their country, don't have a political agenda? You don't?
And it's part and parcel of a Christian agenda too. That certain people who want to promote Christianity, and this is, I want to quote this now. Project 2025 aims at putting Christianity at the center of American government and society by turning a biblical worldview into federal law, often employing Christian nationalists, talking points, and narratives that support a right-wing political proposals. End of quote.
And that is a problem for you as a Muslim. Why? Is that not what you have in all your Muslim majority countries? Is that not your political agenda? Look, it's amazing. It's really, really amazing how these people are not really, it's really, really amazing how they can accuse other people of doing the very same thing that they want to do and not really see the irony. They cannot really see the irony. It's it is good when we do it, it is bad when you do it type of thing. And they cannot even see the irony. The only thing they know how to do is to oppress and to cry victims. If they're not oppressing other people, they are crying that they are the victims. That's the only two things that they know how to do. Somehow it is the fault of Christians that who are the majority in America, and Christians who are the founders of America, and Christians who made America what it is today. It is outrageous that they want to once again reestablish a Christian nation in America, where Christianity is at the forefront, is what inspires federal laws, and is what is kind of like the mainstream social consciousness of the people. Like, that's what they want. That is a problem for this guy. Meanwhile, you have that for Islam in about 50-something countries. It is okay if that is it's okay if that is happening in over 50 countries, but for one country to say we are a Christian nation, can you imagine? Can you imagine what these Christians are trying to do?
I'm gonna, I'm saying this, and this is a concern. Listen, we have to protect ourselves and protect also the right to freedom of religion.
Can you imagine? The right to freedom of religion that we don't have in Islam needs to be protected. It needs to. This person said, Muslims, not a single Muslim in the Epstein list. Islamic countries practice sex slavery and selling little girls to adult men. And here is a report from...
And flour, he has sold me to an old man. The white-bearded man who claims he's 55 years old comes to collect her.
Just like his prophet.
He's bought Parwana for 200,000 Afghanis, just over $2,000 US.
That is far less for what Muhammad paid for Aisha, because all he had to say is, give me that girl. It's my right.
Covered up,
Prophet.
Parwana whimpers as her mother holds her. This is your bride. Please take care of her, says Parwana's father. Of course I will take care of her, replies the man. His large hands grab her small frame. Parwana tries to pull away. As he carries her only bag of belongings, she again resists, digging her heels into the dirt. But it's futile. The fate of this small, helpless child has been sealed.
Yep. But of course, let's talk about the Epstein files. According to...
Child marriage is nothing new in poor rural parts of Afghanistan. But human rights activists are reporting an increase in cases. Two daughters, 9-year-old Litan and 4-year-old Zeton, for $1,000 US each. Do you know why they're selling you? The journalist asked Zeton. Because we are a poor family and don't have any food to eat, she says.
I know some people are going to be like, oh, well, this is happening because people are poor. It is poverty that is making them do that. Yeah, there are many poor people in different parts of the world. Not all of them are selling their daughters. In marriage, of course, Islamic selling of your daughters is it's just you're marrying your daughter off Islamically. It's halal, ladies and gentlemen. They say, oh, but because they're doing it because they are poor. Yeah. There are many people who are poor around the world who are not doing it. Why is this okay? And why is it that the government cannot even do something to stop it? Because it is Islamic. Because to do it is to go against Islam. That is why.
Are you scared? He asks. Yes, I am. Another family in Gore province borrowed money from their 70-year-old neighbor. Now he's demanding it back, but they have nothing to give except their 10-year-old daughter, Magul.
Like 1 year older than Aisha.
My daughter doesn't want to go and is crying all the time.
They should be
I am
happy
so
that the
ashamed,
man is
she
accepting
says.
he's someone who is 10 years.
Terrified, she threatens to take her life. If they push me to marry the old man, I will kill myself. I don't want to leave my parents. Days later, she discovers the sale has been finalized.
It's not the sale that was finalized, it was the marriage. The marriage has been finalized. The marriage has been finalized. All right, guys. Many more things that I want to react to. Here is our favorite Muslim.
Astaghfirullah! I forgot! No!
Sneako. I have fasted, okay? As a Christian, I have fasted. I've done fast. I've done 6 to 6. You don't forget. But of course, when you're doing the Islamic fasting, you will forget because you just ate in the morning, and you're just all you have to do is skip lunch. Essentially, just don't drink water and don't eat food from sunrise to sunset. So just focus on eating in the morning and focus on eating in the night. That's kind of like how it is practiced in Islam. So that's why you kind of forget that, you're not supposed to eat because, before the sun rose, you already ate. And when the sun sets, you're going to eat again. So it can be difficult. I can get why it is kind of difficult. But if you're actually doing actual fasting, it's kind of hard to forget, And you keep forgetting a lot of things, Sneako, especially as you're on stream. Always forgetting. You ate pork. You forgot it was pork.
Wallahi, I made a mistake. Wallahi, I made a mistake. Wallahi, I made a mistake.
You should call the sheikh to tell him how you slipped and fell and the drink fell into your mouth, You should call that sheikh. That sheikh is going to... Oh, my goodness. Here is another thing that Megan Kelly had to say to Randy Fine. He said, "What I figured out, you pathetic, sweaty man, is when an idiot Muslim say no dogs in NYC, instead of attacking the people or the policy, you went full bigot. F off." That is what she said. But here she is. And that is No Soup for Nose posted is saying, "No more Muslims. Islam is not consistent with the values of the West." Megan Kelly says Muslims can stay in their own country. Give this a more.
And the Muslims, let's be honest, they're breeding like rabbits. That's like part of their mission, is to have kids, have tons of kids, have 6, 7, 8 kids.
Oh, come on. That's just 1 or 2 Muslims. Not all of them. I mean, let's just follow you. Let's be consistent, Megan. If Nadine is just a representative of one Muslim, and if you want to criticize her, just go after that one Muslim. Why are you generalizing when it has to do with Muslims? Oh, it's not all of them that breed like rats. I can find one Muslim who is 60 and not yet married. Trust me, you can find one. Okay? That guy has nothing to do with what you are saying. Does he?
And win by multiplication. So Christians need to start having babies. Sorry, but we do. There's nothing wrong with it. I'm sorry, but no more Muslims. We're done. Our values are not aligned. They're just not. I have Muslim friends. It's nothing against them. Their individual, friendships are fine. They as individuals are fine. But Islam is not consistent with the values of America.
And I just want to ask you, are you sure those Muslims are your friends? You might think they are your friends, but are you sure they are your friends? It's kind of like the problem with when people say, I have Muslim friends. Now, I'm not doubting that they are actual Muslims who are really like friendly and they are really good friends. But there's, when you look at the Islamic sources and you look at what the Quran commands, where it's like, you can be friends with the non-believer if it is advantageous for you. You have to start asking yourself, this Muslim that is my friend, is he my friend because he's really my friend, or is he my friend because it is advantageous for me? And listen, as I am saying this because as a Nigerian, I have seen, of course, it is known. We in Nigeria have seen firsthand what having Muslim friends can look like. Because when the robber hits the road, your Muslim friend is the one who is leading a mob to your house to kill you and behead you and, have his way with your wife. We've seen this happen repeatedly in Nigeria. So I'm asking, are you sure that Muslim is your friend? It is a good question to ask.
Of the West. Like
I said, I've said this when I was on what was his name? I said this when I was on his live stream. Mansoor, I said this when I was in his live stream. I said to say not all Muslims is a privilege. There are places you are in the world where you can't say not all Muslims because it doesn't matter. If you are in Syria, If you are in Syria, you don't have the privilege of saying not all Muslims. If you are even in Saudi Arabia, you don't have the privilege of saying not all Muslims. There are places where you find yourself, if you are in northern Nigeria, you don't have the privilege of saying not all Muslims. If you are saying not all Muslims, you are living in an area where that does not have a Muslim majority. Just know that that is the reality. You live in an area where there is no Muslim majority. That's why you open your mouth and say not all Muslims. Find yourself in a Muslim majority area, and trust me, it is going to be all Muslims. They are all the same is what you are going to be saying.
They should stay in countries that don't care about keeping church and state separated. They should stay in countries that don't care about protecting free speech. They should stay in countries that don't care about women's rights. That's where Islam can fester and grow. It's great. I mean, I'm sure if that's like your thing and you don't care about like genital mutilation, you might really enjoy living in an Islamic country. If you don't mind living in a life as a woman where you have to keep every inch of your body except for your eyeballs covered, yeah, it's someplace in the Middle East could be for you. It's not my thing. It's not America's thing. And it's not a thing that we should want or encourage in the West. And it's definitely not a thing we should encourage at our governmental level.
So there she is, and now she's like, oh, Randy Fine is a bigot. He went full bigot. And then you have greetings.
Greetings from Jerusalem. Today marks the beginning of the holy month of Ramadan, a time of deep significance for millions of Muslims all over the world. I'm honored to extend my warmest wishes to all who are observing this special month sacred for Islam. Ramadan should be a time of compassion, reflection, and generosity. These universal values call on all of us to care for one another, show kindness, and strengthen the bonds that unite our community.
Where did he find this? Sorry, I'm yawning. It's because it's late. I should be, on a good day, I should be sleeping, but I'm doing this live stream, so that's why I'm yawning. Forgive my yawning. But where did he find this? He said, this is especially sacred for Islam.
Ramadan should be a time of
compassion, reflection, and
generosity.
Where did he find this idea that this is what Ramadan is about? Compassion. And by compassion, do you mean compassion for non-Muslims? Is that what? Why do people in the West do this? This is called projection. You believe, when Christians are doing something like a holiday, it's always a time for generosity, compassion, reflection, whatever. And you believe, it has to be the same for Muslims. Why do people in the West do projection a lot? Why do you guys keep projecting? Why do you keep projecting? Where did you get this idea from? That especially this is universal values. That the idea of compassion for all people essentially is where did you get this from? Universal value, how?
Universal values call on all of us to care for one another, show kindness, and strengthen the bonds that unite our community.
What bond do you think unites you, a Christian, with the Muslim community? Where did you find that bond? And where do you think they have been commanded to be kind towards you? Where do you think that it was ever commanded that they should be kind towards you? Let me just, give some example. I think it's 9 verse, 73 or something. It's Quran 9 verse 73. O prophet, fight against the disbelievers and the hypocrites and be harsh upon them, and their refuge is hell. The wretch is the destination. And wretched is the destination, rather. And wretched is the destination. O prophet, fight against the disbelievers and the hypocrite and be harsh upon them, and their refuge is hell, and wretched is the destination. Fight against disbelievers and hypocrites and be harsh upon them. And in case you are wondering who the disbelievers are, it includes you. That's what Muslims have been commanded to do to you, to fight you. They are not be commanded to show you compassion. They are commanded to be harsh to. Now you might say, "Oh, he said, oh prophet." Okay, you know what? Let me show you another one. Let me show you another one. Oh, you who have believed, fight against those adjacent to you of the disbelievers, and let them find in you what? Harshness. So this is not to the prophet. This is to those who believe, to Muslims. Fight the disbelievers that are close to you. That those adjacent to you means those that are close to you, and let them find in you harshness. So I don't know where you find this idea that Ramadan and anything about Islam is like there's this universal principle that also Islam acknowledges, the principle of being kind to one another. Kind to one another is to be kind to other Muslims. That's what kind to one another entails. Be kind to other Muslims. But when they are not Muslims, you should be harsh towards them. Let me see if I can find more examples of this so I can show. Let me provide a couple of examples. Let's see, Quran 48. Quran 48, verse 29. Right. Quran 48, 29. So he says, this is a description of a good Muslim, according to Quran 48, verse 29. Muhammad is the messenger of Allah, and those with him are forceful against disbelievers, merciful amongst themselves. Muhammad is the messenger of Allah, and those with him are what? Are forceful against disbelievers and merciful amongst themselves. So the kindness that Muslims believe in as kindness to other Muslims, they don't believe in kindness to non-Muslims. Let me see. Let me get the verse that talks about Abraham. I think it's in Quran 60. Yeah, Quran 60 verse 4. Quran 60 verse 4. So we can message home. Just recognize this and stop this. Ramadan is a season of respect and love and all whatnot. No. That's not what Ramadan is about. He said, there has already been for you, now he's talking to Muslims, there have already been for you an excellent pattern in Abraham and those with him, when they said to their people, indeed, we are dissociated from you and from whatever you worship other than Allah. We deny you, and there has appeared between us and you animosity and hatred forever until you believe in Allah alone. I say, except for the saying of Abraham to his father, I will surely ask forgiveness for you, but I will not have power to do for you anything against Allah. Our Lord our Lord, upon you we have relied, and you have, and to you we have returned, and to you is the destination. So what this verse is saying is that the excellent example in Abraham is his hostility towards disbelievers. The part you should not emulate from Abraham was when he said he's going to pray and ask Allah for forgiveness for his father. So even if the disbeliever is your father, you are to do what? You are to hate him, and you are to consider yourself in animosity forever with that person until the person become a Muslim. That's why we saw Muslims in mosque praying for the death and the destruction and the complete wiping out of the so-called enemies of Allah. So when you have Mike Huckabee saying, of course, he's trying to be diplomatic and he's trying to be political, but he needs to recognize that all he's saying is not true, and we need to be truthful. I don't know, maybe I guess politics and all whatnot, but as a Christian in politics, it's not one of the things that's supposed to be your guiding political principle, the truth.
And strengthen the bonds that unite our communities. To families who are marking this occasion, I wish you a peaceful, healthy, and blessed Ramadan. Ramadan Kareem.
Oh, you should really wish them a very healthy Ramadan, because they will need that wish. They will need that. And then there's the whole news about okay, so let me just give you guys a bit of background of what this news is about. So it came out on the Daily Mail. I think this is from the Daily Mail that Tucker Carlson was detained in Israel. Journalists dragged into an interrogation room as explosive interview sparks diplomatic firestorm. Conservative podcasting titan Tucker Carlson said he and his staff were detained in Israel on Wednesday following an interview with Donald Trump's ambassador to the country. The former Fox News host flew to Tel Aviv for a sit-down with Mike Huckabee, who challenged Tucker to speak to him directly following an online spat about the country's treatment of Christians. So that's kind of like the news story. He was detained, blah, 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 blah. Then the same Daily Mail, this is the funny thing, the same Daily Mail also wrote this. Now, people are, of course, Daily Mail is also not going to run with this kind of headline and say, oh, no, they're going to run with something that is sensational because, of course, they are after clicks. The same Daily Mail said a spokesperson for the U.S. Embassy in Israel. So this is not an Israeli. This is a spokesperson for the U.S. Embassy in Israel denied that Tucker was detained and claimed he received the same passport control questions and countless... Oh, give me a second. Give me a second, I'll be back. Sorry about that, guys. I needed to check something real quick because I didn't understand what was going on. So I just needed to rush real quick and check what was going on. Sorry. Anyways, back to what I was talking about. Where was I? What was I talking about before I was interrupted? Okay, so a spokesperson for the U.S. Embassy in Israel denied that Tucker was detained and claimed he received the same passport control questions that countless visitors to Israel, including Ambassador Huckabee and other diplomats, receive as part of normal entrance and exit from Israel. It is not accurate that Israel only was going to let Tucker into the country for the interview. The spokesperson added the only engagement the embassy had with Israel about his visit was to coordinate his private plane landing as part of facilitating a seamless visit. It was Tucker who chose to only come into the country for a few hours and depart, and Tucker received the same positive treatment of any visitor to Israel. Now, mind you, this is not a statement released by Israel. This was a statement released by the U.S. Embassy in Israel. This is a statement released by the U.S., but of course, people are not even going to listen to this one. Nobody is even going to be aware of. In fact, Tucker Carlson is going to come tomorrow or the next day, and whatever he's going to, and say, "Oh no, I was detained. They dragged me into an interrogation room. They gave me cavity search at this point. They kind of stripped me naked and treated me as if I was in Guantanamo Bay." And you already have former Congresswoman. She's former now. Oh, that was interesting. Former Congresswoman Marjorie Taylor Greene, MTG, saying American citizen and journalist Tucker Carlson detained in Israel after interviewing our U.S. ambassador Mike Huckabee. We can't tolerate this. You just made it. Oh, please shut up. Just shut up. Anyways, let us look at the last news for the day. Let's listen to this clip from Sneeko. I mean, we've done it.
You break it down. So under Nick's logic, you'd rather have so Clav, I don't really want to start a division. But so it's like, so would you rather have a society filled with white people drinking, partying, clubbing, meth maxing and stuff? Yeah, non-religious. You'd rather have that than people praying in a park? Like, it doesn't make sense to me.
Sneeko is soon going to realize that most of the people he hang out with don't like him. I don't know. Anyways, I mean, Sneeko used to be smart until he decided to just, I don't know, did Islam make him stupid? Sometimes I wonder if that's actually what happened. Did he make him stupid? I just had to know, had to tell at this point. Let me see if there's any other thing we can find on my homepage that would be interesting. These days, breaking news just all over the place. This is from Reed Van. He said, during Ramadan, Muslims eat huge meals every night and call it fasting. They eat in the morning and then they eat in the night. They eat huge meals in the morning, huge meals in the night, and then they call it fasting. Breaking Tucker Carlson, of course. Tucker Carlson repeatedly detained in Israel and dragged into interrogation room. The U.S. Embassy confirmed that this isn't true. The U.S. Embassy confirmed this isn't true before you posted. You ought to be ashamed of yourself. I'm really starting to wonder how much Israel is paying for this talking point. Zionism is incompatible with Christianity. We are allowed to say that, or is just one group allowed to talk about the other groups like that? How is Zionism incompatible with Christianity? How? Doesn't say. It's not. This is from Naftali, former Prime Minister of Israel. Tucker Carlson is chicken poop the guy who's been spouting lies about Israel for the past 2 years, landed today at Ben Guri, I don't know how to pronounce this, Ben's airport, took a quick picture in the logistics zone, tweeted it to pretend he's actually in Israel so he can later claim that he's a serious reporter who toured Israel, didn't even step foot into the country, then made up a story that he's being reportedly harassed by our security. Didn't happen, whined about it, got back into the private jet and flew off. Next time he talks about Israel as if he's some expert, just remember this guy is a phony. Oh, we already knew he's a phony. Just already. And then you have another very stupid person. They just told you what he said that was a lie, but you're like, oh, please tell us what exactly he said that was a lie. He said he was being interrogated, that he was dragged. What was that part again? Made up a story about being supposedly harassed by our security. Didn't happen. What part of that did you not get? Oh, tell me what exactly he said that was a lie. You know, I think many of the gropers is just stupid on purpose. It's just let us act dumb on purpose. You know, some of them will be like, we are just asking questions. You ask the question, they give you the answer, and they then pretend like you did not answer the question. It's like that game of pretending to be stupid. Yeah. Oh, let me see this. This looks interesting. So the Orthodox Muslim, aka Libiano, runs a Christian argument against a Quranist to defend that the Torah in the Bible is Allah's book. Okay, let me see this. This looks interesting.
To a Christian, because you're the Christian.
You're
listening to debating Christians, because that's easy.
Yeah. Oh yeah, you're easier. You're a cupcake, brother.
Oh, so okay, thank you. So you're just doing the Islamic dilemma now? Are you saying that the Torah that they have, what God gave them?
The Torah that they have is the Torah that the Prophet Muhammad confirmed in the 7th century. Do you agree with that?
It can't be that because in their Torah, God is in their Torah. They talk about Moses dying and what happened after Moses. So it's not the book that Moses received, obviously. And now when God is giving you a confirmation, He's saying "Ma bayna yaday." Only what the material that is presented in the Quran was being confirmed.
What is the Torah that the Quran is confirming?
The Torah that was originally revealed and whatever reminiscence they have in their hands that align with the Quran.
Where does it say they only had remnants?
That shows there is clear corruption between what God has revealed, because God is not going to reveal a Torah where it says that a prophet of God is inviting people to other than God.
Beautiful.
Yeah.
So the Torah that the Quran is confirming in part is the Torah they have with them, correct?
Brother, you're doing the argument that the Christians make, which is a failure. So God is...
You see, these Muslim debaters are not stupid. You know, when you debate them, they pretend like when you watch the debates, you feel, but these people are not stupid. They know. Like they know. They're not that stupid. Anyway, that was not what I wanted to talk about, but I'm just looking at random stuff, other random stuff at this point. At least from God Logic, the Quran challenge to make something like it was already done in the lifetime of Muhammad. By the way, who judges if the challenge is met? What is the objective metric for making something like it? How does this prove divine origin at all? It is all silly. So let's watch this.
The challenge of the Quran is produce a book like it, right? And produce a chapter like it, or produce a verse like it. Now this is a challenge, Arabic. Now let me give you the same challenge in English.
So I believe that Omar did it in Arabic.
He did it? How?
Yeah. So he came up with 3 verses that made it into the Quran.
He did not come up with it.
Yeah, he said that the Lord agreed with me in three ways.
Agreed. Okay.
So Omar said something,
and the similar word, it was revealed in the exact same words as he said it. Yes.
So if we're saying produce something like it, what Omar said was good enough and so much like the Quran that it made it in it, that Allah agreed with it.
Okay.
So I would say that Omar fulfilled that challenge. So for me then, how is it then that Omar, who's not a prophet,
right,
was inspired enough to say something that was good enough to be in the Quran 3 times?
Yeah, it's a valid argument. I'll give you that. The challenge of the Quran is produce a book like it.
Okay.
Wow. Wow. I need to. God logic is amazing. Wow. 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 I need to like this. Retweet it even. Or repost it, as they say now on Twitter. And this is from Ambassador Mike Huckabee. He said, Israeli Passport Authority responded, contrary to the report, Tucker and his entourage. What is happening? What is happening? What is going on? Give me a second, guys. All right. Sorry, guys. I had to do that. So this is from Libby Blanca, blah, blah, blah. So his response to what Tucker Carlson was alleging said, Israeli airport authority responded, contrary to the report, Tucker Carlson and his entourage were not detained, delayed, or interrogated. Mr. Carlson and his party were politely asked a few routine questions in accordance with standard procedure applied to many travelers. Sorry. In accordance with standard procedures applied to many travelers. The conversation took place in a separate room within the VIP lounge solely to protect their privacy and to avoid conducting such a discussion in public. No unusual incidents occurred. The Israeli airport firmly reject any other claim. Well, what the hell did you think Tucker was going to do when you allowed him in? Of course, he's going to lie and invent some kind of incident for PR purpose. That's what he does. You should never have allowed the moron to step foot in Israel. Of course, there is no win-win situation with Tucker. Of course, if you don't allow him in, he's going to say Israel is not allowing me in. He doesn't want to allow a critic of Israel is not being allowed into the country. You allow him in, he's going to lie. You know. Everybody is coming out to say, oh, it did not happen. It did not happen. It did not happen. It did not happen. Then there's talks about, well. So, if I shout Jesus is the son of Allah, where am I more likely to be killed, Tel Aviv or Ramallah? Good question. Good question. What else? Let's watch this. One more and then we'll call it a day.
Yo, Tucker, I heard you were in the country and that you only stayed inside the airport. That is so cowardly. It's so pathetic and cowardly. I mean, you didn't get a chance to see beautiful Tel Aviv and the towers, the economy, and the high tech, and you didn't go to Jerusalem and feel the Bible come to life. You didn't feel King David. You didn't come to Hebron and see the tomb of Abraham. You're still going to be like, I don't think that the Jewish people today is the Jewish people of the Bible. Well, that's just dumb. But you wouldn't even come to see it. You didn't come to see it. You didn't even want to, take a second. You landed here, and all you came to do is just to pick a fight with Ambassador Huckabee. I hope he smeared you with the deep truth of the return of the Jewish people to the land of Israel, which is the most beautiful thing in the world. There's no more indigenous people in this world than the Jewish people. The great ingathering, the godly thing that's happening, the economy, the high tech, the matrix of our society, Jews, Muslims, Christians. And you didn't see any of that because you're not sharing the truth, bro. You just wanted to see the inside of the airport, make a little Qatar-funded, China-funded media, and you're out of here. Silly, cowardly, and full of lies. I hope that Huckabee smeared you with his amazing truth and expose your lies. Next time, buddy, maybe you can.
And if that's what happened in the interview, you may not get Tucker Carlson to post it. Like, he may not post it. That is the reality. That is the reality. I wanted to watch this, but it's going to take us longer. So let's call it a day here, and we'll reconvene. Let's see this from Modern Debate. Let me see. Modern Debates are not posting shots.
This moment changed the entire debate. I have a question for you. You are benefiting from human rights and freedom of religion in the US, and you are trying to get us back to Sharia. For example, you converted from Christianity to Islam. Alhamdulillah. And you want to bring a law that kills the apostate. Do you want to be killed for converting from Christianity to Islam?
Do you believe it's correct?
Do you want it?
Do you believe it's correct?
So he doesn't answer the question. Do you want it?
Give us the principle.
The principle is the golden rule. Do you believe I should be put to death?
I believe that the punishment for apostasy in a correct Islamic state is death.
I asked you, do you believe I should be killed today?
And I answered you, sir.
Yes or no?
The laws of the Sharia should be applied, including the death penalty for not only apostates, but also blasphemers.
You didn't answer me, yes or no? Deserve to be killed because I left Islam and became a Christian.
According to Islamic law, an apostate like you would be killed.
Welcome to Islam, ladies and gentlemen. That is the peace and harmony, and the universal principles that Mike Huckabee was talking about in his Ramadan video, as you can see. So there is that. All right, guys, it's been fun. Thank you all for hanging out with me. I really enjoyed the live stream. It wasn't easy, but we made it. We made it, alhamdulillah. And we'll see again. Well, we didn't hit our distance, so I don't know if I want to come again, but we'll see. We'll see. I will hop in again, hopefully, inshallah. All right, guys. Have a wonderful evening, morning, or afternoon, and God bless you.